me turn on the sound so people can hear us. Okay, so that's pretty good. Then I'll turn off the other one because I don't think we need that right yet. But how cool is it? We can have multiple cameras if we want.
That is cool.
So I'll put this
cool.
something like this. We'll see how it sounds. Here, talk for a second. See how you sound.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Bad. I'll turn it a little bit towards us so we don't crank that up.
One of those
how does that sound?
Omnidirectional ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's generally sort of I bought it because it has the unicorn vomit in it.
Oh, cool.
You want like as many colors as possible. You want it to be the least useful things are the most important to me on these things. So we've got our Tech Bandits mug. We've got our leadership mug going.
Yes.
We've had our pizza. Yes. We're ready to rock and roll. We've geeked out already. Like it's
It's fantastic. It's the good way to start the afternoon.
Oh, so Sertsuel79, first time watching your stream. Oh, this should be good because this is the first time we've done this. I've been really excited about this because let me see, how do I do this? I do that. Does that help? That helps a bit. I've been really excited about this because I took Boris's course a couple of weekends ago, and I've been kind of like ranting and raving about how great it is ever since, and annoying the hell out of Jane by saying things like situational awareness all the time.
Always looking. Right?
But it's amazing. There was just some really cool things that came up that were very. I mean, I don't want to say simple, but they're obvious once you've heard them. It's kind of like anything. Once you've got the instructions, it seems so simple,
And generally, a lot of that stuff is when it's presented, you're like, well, don't I do that already? Or maybe that makes sense, right? It's not always a complex concept or something that needs a lot of training to do.
Thankfully for me.
Yeah, that's right. It makes it a lot easier. But having just the right path set up in front of you or laid out in front of you and being able to start with a solid foundation.
Right.
And then you build on it, right? So no weekend course is going to make you an expert in a topic. Right?
Well, don't tell Jane that because I've been telling her I'm an expert at the topic. Yeah.
Yes. But it gives you a solid foundation upon which to build,
this to you a little bit more.
And being able to have that opportunity then on that foundation when you're out in the world every day, putting those principles into practice, and that's where you build that solid skill set over time, right? And then it goes from being something conscious in the forefront of your mind to being an automatic kind of behind the scenes type thing. So a subconscious program that's always running in your head.
It is weird because I've just definitely noticed a change. We're just chatting roughly here. Then I'll set once we've got everyone in and hype trains already. Look at that. I don't know what a hype train is, but I think it's a good thing.
I don't know. It's
generally a good
pink
thing.
And it's 94%.
And there's lots of first time chats. We've got Denny8 here, Denny8. Hello, is it time to talk about leadership? Yes, it is. It's always time to talk about leadership. Hello, David. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well. Captain Catherine's here. Jack Jasper. I got my fabulous regulars here. Jack Jasper is a really talented artist who actually came up with our Tech Bandits logo.
Oh, yeah, awesome logo.
It's fantastic.
This logo though, it's not the Tech Bandits logo.
It's pretty freaking great though.
So Maple Syrup Mafia right here.
I love it.
Maple Syrup Mafia.
The Maple Syrup Mafia is
it's a collective of Canadian security professionals that we don't take ourselves too seriously with what we do. So you met one of them at the weekend. So Ace.
He takes himself pretty seriously.
He does.
He's great. Ace is just so much fun to tease.
Yeah.
Until he starts taping you up and tying it.
Then you pay for it, right?
Yeah, I noticed whenever I made a joke, I got like an extra cable tie around my wrist or something. Yeah. He's fantastic. That'll learn you. Amazing teacher. So it was Ace and it was Boris who was teaching the course, and let me sort of introduce you. Sure. Okay, so maybe you should start.
Sure.
What's the best way to describe who you are, what you do?
So hello everybody. Thank you, David, for having me. My name is Boris Milinkovic. I run TrueNorthTradecraft. I'm a security specialist here in Toronto, and basically I focus on teaching a couple of different topics. One is disaster preparedness, specifically for urban environments. Second is physical security, which are things like lockpicking, lock bypassing, and studying criminal methodologies on how break-ins happen so that we can teach people to not let people break into their places. Also for police and other kinds of legitimate people to use those skills.
How freaking cool is that?
We do personal security stuff as well. So like the course that David attended a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So personal security consists of situational awareness, behavioral analysis.
Yeah, situational awareness.
Yeah,
I use that a lot
keeping
now.
aware.
Yeah.
We do travel security stuff, but then we also get into personal protective combatives and my specialty, which is restraint escape. So getting out of various restraints, rope, tapes, zip ties of various kinds, and handcuffs.
How do you get into that? Like, how do you or should I ask? Is that a kid friendly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
So years ago, I did a course because as a Canadian, as far as I know, I'm the only person in Canada that's teaching this stuff.
Huh.
So I got interested into this about 15 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
And
that's why he's so fast to get out of here.
Yeah. So I was looking for, I knew about it. I knew this stuff existed, like covert entry and counter custody, as it were. But nobody in Canada had it on offer. So
why do you think that is? Is it just a difference between America and Canada?
There's big differences in kind of protective mindsets, like where security for an individual. Canada is much less about that, whereas in the States,
But
there's
call the
lot
police,
more.
problem solved.
Yeah, or people won't do that to me. It'll never happen, right?
Really?
There's
just denial.
There's a denial, apathy that
okay.
happens kind of on a societal scale, a lot more than in the U.S. But those are huge cultural differences.
Right.
So, and there's a lot more of a kind of military backgrounds that become private contractors in the U.S.
And are you military background? Or you?
I am, yeah. So my background, just to kind of give 2 cents on it, I joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 1998 in a light infantry capacity. Then several years after that, I switched to military intelligence.
Right.
And then after that, I moved to military police.
Right.
So I've been doing that for a while now. I'm still technically a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, but I am in a period of transitioning out.
Right.
After many years, it's just done my time. So
Does it take a long time to transition out? I mean, is that
yeah,
as simple
it's
as
just a
going,
lot of
I'm out?
paperwork,
Right.
stuff. So that it sometimes can take a few months to get done,
Right.
and that sort of thing. But I'm effectively on my way out.
Right. But the intention is to work with them again.
I would happily work with them as a private contractor,
Right.
but I want to leave the forces and put that section of my life behind me.
I was going to jump in with a couple of
go
things.
for
So
it.
Miss Lintz, thank you very, very much, as always. And Sertzul79's already subscribed?
Fantastic.
Man, look, we sucked you right in. Look at that. Now you'll never get rid of us. And is Cal here? Cal! No, Cal, I've already thanked. I've already done it. Cal is, I call Cal the hammer.
Oh,
Because she's the one who will come in and destroy anybody who misbehaves. Unfortunately, also me. So she's
you're
tough.
not doing enough then. So,
Obviously not. Yeah, I'm not misbehaving enough, it seems. But Cal is yes, we love our Cal.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Cal. Okay, so the hope is to get back in more of a like consulting fashion.
Yeah, so it's just a little. It takes up so much time in my life, and I want to try and streamline that to do more of what I enjoy, which is this. So, transitioning out of that, my kind of professional career has been with government. So I was I'm an ex-customs officer.
Right.
Did that for several years. I worked for the Department of Transport in a security and emergency preparedness role for several years, and now my day job is still in a with government in a security management role.
Right.
So so that's where I kind of do, but I do really find that what I do with TrueNorthTradecraft is something I'm very passionate about, and I really enjoy. And
he's geeking out as much as we were at this thing on the weekend. I was
it's just so much fun because you have a group of people who are genuinely interested in what I'm interested in,
right?
And I can show them stuff that they never thought about or never thought possible.
Yeah.
So one of the attendees that we had, when she came to our first class, and I think this was her third or fourth go with us.
Right. Yeah, because there are people who've been through a bunch of this before.
Because we change it up every time, right?
Yeah.
So when we were doing the combative stuff of our weekend, we were focusing a lot on striking legs and stuff like that, if you recall.
I do.
So the time before that, we were doing fighting from the ground, or the goal was not have our heads stomped in by a guy, right?
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
there's a very focused kind of combative skill set, but that's what we were working on. So every time you come back, we stick to the fundamentals of reinforcing situational awareness and behavioral analysis, improvised weaponry and stuff like that, and the counter custody, because having the basics down is the real important part, right? And then
we just build on
we
that
build
as you
on
go.
it. Yeah. So even like if you come back next time, it'll be
damn right.
We'll still do the same basics for the counter custody, but we're gonna mess with you more, right? So
I'm out.
So if you thought we messed with you like that time, right? But and some of the students that have been there a few times, we can punch it up to another level with them because they're comfortable with those basics. But the people that it was the first time, we're not going to give them a problem that they can't solve. Right. Because we've given you the basics, you understand how to do it, and you were doing it in a non-stressful way an hour before. But now we had just added things like, restraints on top of restraints. We threw a hood over your head. We made
Small
it.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, the instructor Phil.
Instructor Phil is it Chihuahua? No,
he's a Chihuahua mix. Yeah,
Chihuahua mix in a flak jacket. It's like and he'll come around, and if you haven't got out of your cups in time, he's licking your face.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that.
One of the two.
And so. he doesn't smell too great. So
yeah.
So that's even
Speaking
more.
Of which, is Zaw down here? Yeah. Wait till she clears the room. I don't even know how to say that. Skmoen? Thank you for your subscription. I'm sorry that SC Moen. I'm going to say that. Oh, okay. Doesn't that sound more like, it sounds somehow like,
Hold on. Where are you reading that?
Oh, sorry, on the side here. Right here.
Okay.
So
there it is.
So this is where, so the chat,
yeah.
I'm notoriously bad about getting involved in conversations and not addressing the chat. So Cal is amazing at saying, yo, David. So obviously if you guys have questions, feel free to try. If we don't get them right away, then you just have to keep saying them until I go squirrel and I see what you're doing. So okay, so what do you have for us today? What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
So some of the stuff when I get onto some of these podcasts and stuff like that we'll focus generally on one issue or one section of my specializations.
Good luck doing that here.
So
I'm so ADHD. It'll be like we'll be talking about squirrels in no time.
So we've hold on. Volume is consistently low for some reason.
Always low?
Is our volume low?
Volume is there anyone else having trouble with the volume? Let's just see. Sometimes it's just that their volume's down.
Yeah.
Let's have a series. We really
can't
really hear you. Really? Oh, that sucks.
Did you turn it down or turn it up?
I thought I turned it up. We really can't hear. If I've got you maxed, but it's kind of quiet. Really?
Okay.
All right, let me see what I can do here. Let me just see. Microphone, speakers. Yeah, your volume is low. Just move mic close. Is that really it? So if I'm like this, does that do it? But everyone else seems to have an issue. You're a little quiet. Kiss the mic. Okay, I'm kissing the mic. How does this sound? That's way better. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna boost this a bit. So that's gonna make it a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can do that.
Is that better?
Maybe I'll project a little more. Okay. So.
Hey, Beaver Blocks. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just hug the mic better. Okay.
Okay.
So as long as it's not a technical issue, it's just a Hewlett issue, then we're fine.
So as I was saying,
that's it.
Yeah.
And there goes everyone's ears.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The pain.
So when we usually focus on stuff, it's are we talking about kind of disaster preparedness or counter custody or covert entry, lockpicking stuff, and the goal on all of those together when we put it in a kind of package, right, is to build a skill set in ourselves that makes us resilient to adverse conditions.
Right.
Okay. So the covert entry side, if you're a security professional, you can do things like penetration testing and red teaming and security audits and whatnot.
Right.
But
do you want to explain those just in case?
So those are things that security professionals do that work for companies. So if you ever saw the absolutely fantastic film Sneakers with Robert
it's
Redford,
the best. Oh
so
my
it's
God.
Essentially that, right?
I gotta show Baz that film.
People get paid, or people pay them to break into their places so that they can stop people from breaking into their places, right?
That's called red teaming.
That's called red teaming, pen testing, right? You basically put yourself in the shoes of the bad guys, and you attack the building in a way that a bad guy would, right? And then that exposes vulnerabilities,
Right.
and then those vulnerabilities can be identified. Those vulnerabilities can be sealed or closed off or mitigated in some way,
Right.
and make the place more secure.
Yeah, because if you
right?
don't know where the fault lies, you're not gonna.
Yeah, you don't
how
know
you
what you
fix it.
don't know, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that we teach covert entry, right? Another one is so police, law enforcement, that sort of thing, firefighters can make entry into a building without destroying it. So
Yeah, but they've got the axes. The fire guys,
but
you want to be like.
so the fire guys love to break stuff, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we have police officers come in and they take the course, they one of the things is like the example I like to use is a welfare check. Okay, so somebody's elderly parent isn't picking up the phone. They're checking on them, so they call the police and say, "Hey, I'm out of town, but can you go check on my grandmother or my mother because she's not answering the door or she's not answering the phone." Sorry.
And all of a sudden, she doesn't have a door.
So generally, what police will do is they'll knock on the door, nothing happens, so they kick it in, or they smash a window and they crawl in to go check on this person, and then they either find everything's not okay or everything's okay.
You're just terrified.
Something. The hearing aid doesn't work anymore, or the phone was off the hook, or they didn't hear it, or something like that.
Right.
So now they've broken down a door.
Or
They've
they
scared
hate their kids. They're not answering the phone.
Yeah, it was. Oh my God, that happens all the time. So they've now caused significant damage to that house,
Right.
in the tune of thousands of dollars, and
Not to mention scared the crap out of
the
lady,
person.
Right. Yeah.
So they have to now call like a contractor, they have to call a locksmith, they have to have a new door put on. The police department has to pay for that,
Oh,
right?
do they?
Yeah, because they broke it,
Huh.
right? It's not the person inside's fault that they broke the door,
Right.
So they have to put someone on the door, like to stand there until that's fixed, so nobody can like break in. So this is like significant costs, like thousands of dollars, right? So having the ability to open a door
Without destroying
destruction of any kind
Never thought of that.
is a really good investment in a skill set that person, that officer can have for their career.
Right.
So a small investment on the front end can be something they use for years and years and years, time and time and time again.
Right.
And that's why the covert entry side of it is in more appropriately maybe non-destructive entry.
Right.
So firefighters love to come in there. They got an axe, they smash it down, but that's usually because there's an indication of fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But just for a welfare check to cause that kind of damage is a little, can be overkill.
Yeah.
So same thing, for hotels and whatever. Hotel calls the police and says, this person hasn't come out of their room for a couple of days.
Right.
Can you check on them? There's ways to get into that hotel room without blasting the door off or destroying it, right?
We're coming in.
Yeah. So a lot of these methods that we teach are, legitimately used for making it a non-destructive entry.
Right.
So and then we have kind of the survival side of things, which are in a bad situation. There's one of the teachers that I had learning this stuff. He said it was Kevin Reeve from On Point Tactical, and he said cities will have every possible thing you can ever need to survive,
Right.
except most of those things will be on the other side of a lock.
Ha.
So therein lies kind of, okay, if you have a medical emergency and medicine for someone is on the other side of a locked cabinet,
Yeah.
having the means to open that cabinet and save that person's life might outweigh the fact that you're going to like break into a container that you don't own. So
I remember getting locked out of the studio we were shooting Cube in, and we all arrived to start filming that day, and the guy hadn't shown up. There was no way to get in the building, and so ending up climbing up and going through a window and opening it up, and of course, and the reality is, we would have been sitting around wasting like thousands of dollars a minute, and instead you just if you've got a little sense of that,
so that's a way to do it, and maybe one day you'll be in that situation, and you'll just and open yourself, and there you go.
That's the dream,
and we can achieve that dream.
Yeah.
Don't let your dreams be dreams, right? So like that's when I look at the kind of covert entry stuff, and there's also the other group of lock sport people that just really enjoy picking locks because they're a challenge, they're a puzzle. Really,
it's kind of a hacker thing. Like I feel like it's like a bit.
It is a hacker thing. Yeah, it is a hacker thing. And it's an engineering puzzle is what it is, right? And decoding that puzzle allows you to open that lock. So it can be fun. It can be something that challenges you mentally and physically, because you have to have the mental side of it to understand what's happening, but at the same time you have to have kind of the physical skill set to be able to actuate those pieces inside the lock. So it can be just a fun challenge, kind of like playing a video game, except it's in a real life puzzle, right? So
yeah, it's a puzzle, isn't it? I mean,
it is. If you
effectively.
decode the key combination, right, inside where those pins have, because they're all assigned a numeric value of how high they are. If you can decode that, then you can open the lock, right? That's the theoretical side of it, right? Yeah. So that's why we teach it, for all those reasons. The protective stuff, the personal security stuff, violence is a real thing out in the world, and I mean, I don't advocate using violence under almost all circumstances, but a really good line and a way to kind of contextualize that is from Tim Larkin, who's a self-defense trainer in the States, down in Nevada. And he says that violence is rarely the answer. But when it is the answer, it is the only answer.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong, because, I mean, you've walked around sketchy parts of Toronto before and other big cities. And at the end of the day, if someone wants to cause you harm, doesn't matter what your good intentions are. The only thing that's going to stop them is violence. You can't talk them out of it. So that's the reason that people call the police when there's a problem, a violent problem, because the police have training and equipment
to dole out
violence to stop violence, right? So it's really just a tool that is used for either good or bad intent.
Right.
And so, like, that's why we teach it, because we don't want anyone being victimized, but at the same time, we don't want someone to actually be that victim. We want them to be capable of being resilient to those adverse conditions.
One of the things I loved about the course was you spent the first part of it. I mean, we did some fun warm up stuff for self protection stuff, but you were so big on hitting the point of, like, the first thing is avoidance.
Yeah.
Like, don't be in those sketchy neighborhoods on Welfare Wednesday or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I mean, and also, if you can run away, run away. Don't try to get into a fight.
There's a really great video on YouTube. It's like I think it was entitled the best Navy SEAL like knife defense tactic, right? And it's this guy. He's got his, like, his Oakley shooting glasses, and he's all, like,
Kitted
operating operationally.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to show you, like, super high speed, low drag, Navy SEAL, Ranger Delta, blah, 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 protection from a knife, right? So the camera pans over to a guy who pulls out a knife, and then it pans over to where the first guy was, and he's not there. And then it pans over farther, and he's like, 50 yards away, like, just running. And it's hilarious.
That's it.
But it's true, right? It's like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
If you have the option, that's what you do.
I don't just play a coward on television. I'm I'm really big on not being in anywhere.
Best way to deal with violence is not be there, right? But that doesn't always work. So, we have kind of plan B, plan C, right? And that's what we went through on the weekend, right? So if we can't avoid it, then yeah.
There seems to be a debate about whether it's legal to have lockpicks.
Pardon me. Okay, so.
Like, whether are you allowed to actually carry lockpicks around with you?
Yes, but let me caveat that.
Yeah, none of this, by the way, is legal advice. And if you want to be, if you're stupid enough to try this stuff on your own at home, then
am I reading
your own
it
fault.
here?
On the right side,
here?
Same thing on the right side. Yeah, a little bigger on the right side. Someone was saying.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so depending, this is the context in which you need to look at lockpicks. Depending on your jurisdiction, there can and will be different laws surrounding carriage of lockpicks.
Like literally, it's illegal to have just the picks in some cases.
So having them out in the world, not in your home.
Oh,
Okay?
I see.
So if you're carrying
right,
them,
I guess that does
so
seem a little
some
sus.
provinces in Ontario, you have to be a licensed locksmith and have an actual certificate from a licensing body in that province to have them with you out in the world, like carriage.
Is that difficult to get?
So I think you have to actually be like a practicing locksmith,
Oh, I
right,
see.
in those
Okay.
provinces. And
All
in
right.
the U.S., similar things are per state, right? So and you'd have to check what your particular jurisdiction is to
Right.
have, you know,
What
that
is it
law.
here? Like it's
So in
wrong?
Ontario, there is no like governing body for it, so you can actually carry them around.
Oh, great. Okay.
But at the end of the day, in the Canadian context, again, not legal advice because I'm not a lawyer, so you
Right.
can't take it. But this is how it was explained to me.
I played them on television. But
Okay,
but that's all I've
then
got.
you can give
Yeah,
that. I'll just
yeah.
write it on a post-it
Yeah,
note,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can read
yeah.
it. So the Canadian law surrounding break-in tools was that the way it was worded was that it put a reverse onus on the person carrying it. So the person found with these devices, right, had to convince the court that they
was
weren't
a reason.
they weren't going to do anything bad with them, right?
Right, right.
Now that doesn't like jive with the whole innocent until proven guilty thing.
Right.
So somebody in the 90s took it to court, right? And had that particular line struck out.
Huh.
So what that did was it removed the reverse onus, but at the same time created the more effective kind of context. So what is a break-in tool? Sure, lockpicks can be a break-in tool, right? But at the same time, they can be something fun for a lock sport.
Like a learning, yeah. Like
Yeah.
a learning tool. And
So
yeah.
why is that illegal, right?
Right.
Because they're not actually doing anything or planning on doing anything illegal. So what it did was it contextualized having a tool that's using to be broken into a place. So if you're found walking down the street in the middle of the day with a bunch of locks and some lock picks, and you're headed to like a lock sport meet,
Right.
is
And
that
then
a
you get pulled
legitimate
over.
reason to have them? Sure,
Yeah.
you're not breaking any laws. However, if you're found at my back door at 3 a.m. trying to open my door lock, what's the context there, right? So
Puzzle? It's a
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's the context. So that's just like, are you walking down the street with a hammer because you want to harm someone with it, or are you walking down the street with a hammer because I'm fixing your
Right.
fence or something
Right,
like that,
right.
right? And I'm a contractor. So like the context is what governs it
Right.
when there isn't any kind of like formal certificate or overseeing body, right?
Unless you're living in a place where it's just illegal to have them out of the house,
Yes.
and then you just don't. Break.
Exactly. So
Do you
to-
travel with them?
I do actually. I
Have
do.
you ever had any problems? Anyone? No.
So air travel or just traveling generally, I haven't had any issues. I go on planes with them. I carry. I'll show you. Carry this guy. So shout out to Covert Instruments, lockpicking lawyer and Covert Instruments. So this is their Covert companion.
Oh,
there we go.
Look at that baby.
So it's got all kinds of really wonderful tools in it. So I do like the Covert companion. I don't sell them, unfortunately. But
Are you gonna get licensed by them or something? Or is that where they-
no, that's just their bag, right? But they're very good friends of ours, and we love them to bits.
Have you talked to the lockpicking lawyer?
I have. I've actually.
Seems like a great channel.
He is. So not only does he have the most famous hands in
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
YouTube
it's
world,
true.
he's such a lovely person. Heart of gold.
Yeah.
I've met him several times. Spent
Oh,
time with
really?
him.
What? So he's going to these like conventions with you and stuff?
So no, like he's got his own thing. He and some of the others have put together Covert Instruments. So
Right.
if you guys want, you can go on Instagram and look at Covert Instruments.
Okay.
But lockpicking lawyer, great guy, and just so knowledgeable. Like like I cry at the level of knowledge that he
It's
has.
amazing.
You know,
Yeah, no, his videos. If no one's watching his stuff, like you got to check him out. It's
yeah,
amazing.
but such a
And
great
then,
guy.
Stuff Made Here. Did you see that guy made a lock? Tried to make an unpickable lock and then sent it to lock.
Yes. So
That was
LPL
neat. Yeah.
fixed that for him.
Yeah,
It didn't
yeah.
quite work.
Oh, did it not?
He did a good job, but Lockpicking Lawyer picked it and then sent him back like,
some
this is
tips.
what I would fix with it.
That's neat.
So
That's
he's
neat. Okay.
he's really really a great guy. But it seems
Reading body language to avoid aggression. Interesting. But we should don't
So,
let chat throw you off because they'll go everywhere. Wait a sec. Before you go out, put a little note in your pocket that says, "I'm not breaking you into any homes." Thank you, Wolf Pup.
Yeah,
That was Wolf Pup's lawyerly advice, and I think so, well, do you want to speaking of lockpicking, do you want to get into some of this
sure.
stuff?
I can show just a couple pieces because
we have another. Like we could step back, we can do it here, we can wrap ourselves in cables, which is what I tend to do.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So I'll just.
The box is opening. Here we go.
So, here, hold on. We're gonna keep it simple.
That's for me. That's on my part. That's no. It was a great excuse to tidy up this place, by the way.
That I do what I can to help.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Distractions. So what do we got? Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. Thank you to everyone who's followed. Very kind of you. Complicate. Sarah Owens like complicate. Make it more complicated. That's the YouTube. Okay. All right. So let me see.
Okay. So like part of why we teach this for all the other reasons mentioned is simply because having an understanding of physical security allows the kind of average person to make informed decisions about their security choices. So I've seen a lot of people buy things like locks for their front doors of their homes and stuff like that, and what is it that they're trying to protect, right? And what are they investing in? So you'll have a situation where you're protecting your most valuable asset usually, which is your home, and you're putting a $30 lock on it.
Right.
Likely, depending on where you live, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, or if it's in Toronto, likely more than $1 million for the value of the home.
Yeah,
so
the average house price is insane.
Yeah. So then you're in a situation where really $30 is kind of protecting your home.
Right.
Now, there's the argument, someone can just throw a brick through the window, but locks are meant to do two things. They're meant to control access, so only people who have a key ideally should be allowed to access it. But at the same time, they're supposed to act like seals, right? So if something is awry, the lock is supposed to force somebody to actually leave a trail that they've done something.
Right.
So like a suitcase, for instance. So like that's why walking up to your front door, if the lock did its job and someone broke in, there's going to be a broken window, the frame is going to be shattered, whatever, right? You'll know that has been breached. Okay? But if the lock is cheap, it doesn't act like a seal. You can just come and go as you want and you'll never know.
Right.
So a good example of that, and this happens all the time, so I'm going to give a shout out to McNally Official because he does this really well. He's part of he's affiliated with Covert Instruments, but Lockpicking Lawyer and so many others do this. But like Master Lock, right? It's kind of our favorite to hate on. Like everybody hates a Master Lock.
Is that like that's just like the cheapest of?
It's just it's so common, but it's cheap.
You keep talking. I'm gonna go check out my other camera and see if I can get that working.
So everybody loves to hate on Master Lock, but that's because they create an illusion of security that is not really doing a service to the people that are buying it. So you'll spend money on a lock and you'll think, well, here it is, it's beefy, it's all metal, it's heavy duty, whatever. It looks cool. It says tough under fire. Great.
It's got to be good then.
I bought it at Home Depot, so it's got to be good. But the problem is that really it's good for maybe corrosion resistance, maybe dealing with some rain and whatnot. but at the end of the day, it's not that effective at protecting your stuff either as a lock or as a seal. So to illustrate the point, so I'll try and do that here on camera live. But so here we go. It's locked. I'll try and aim in front of the camera if I can.
And I will try to give you another camera as well so people can see.
Well, can I do that? That's okay.
You got a camera there? Oh, you know what I
Okay.
could do here? I'll turn the light on too. Then you get
Ooh.
better. Look at this. Watch this. There you go.
Ooh, okay, there we go.
little better
All right,
view.
so here we go. It's locked, okay. And realistically, hold
Oh,
on.
now put it in the wrong place. So I know.
That's okay.
Gotta put it up there.
Can't see what I'm doing. Okay.
Is that better?
So, and now we're open. Okay. So that was actually faster. Sorry. There we go. That was actually faster.
That's faster than when you showed me.
Yeah. So and it's faster than using the key. And that's the illusion of security, right? You think that, you're paying this money for this lock and it's going to do a really good job at protecting your stuff. But what is it that you're protecting? Another thing that kind of the lock-picking security community says is locks are for keeping honest people out. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we kind of laugh at that because with a little bit of know-how, sometimes with more know-how, these things like locks for the front doors and whatever that you buy at kind of the big box stores really just reinforce the illusion of security.
Right.
So, like some of my friends, when they travel, they don't use regular suitcases anymore.
Right.
Like the zip up kinds and stuff like that, because with a pen, you can just kind of open it.
Even if you put those stupid little locks on.
Yeah, the little locks, like the TSA locks, they're terrible because you can get 3D printed keys that just open, or you can pick them, and they're really easy to open. But when I was a customs officer, delayed bags would come in every night, and we wouldn't want to damage the locks. So we take a pen, push it into the zipper, you undo the zipper, right? And open it up, search the bag, close it, and then zip it back up, and it's as if nothing happened, right?
knows.
The locks are still in place.
Wow.
And so, we're legally entitled to do so, and we're responsible to do so. But some people would just cut them off.
Right.
But, that's a method for opening. But at the same time, some of the baggage handlers were doing the same thing to steal stuff.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
we had that in LAX. We had
So
a guy went through, took all the cool stuff out of my bag,
and then zipped it back up.
Zipped it back up again.
Yeah. So that's exactly what they did. So understanding how bad guys do stuff is part of what we like to focus on, because it allows us to do it if we need to, right? To test security systems.
Right.
But at the same time, understanding those vulnerabilities exist, we can test them, we can look at them, and then we can actually close those up. So how do you deal with a bag not being opened? Well, simple. Get a bag that doesn't have a zipper. Get something that clicks closed or something, like a Pelican case or like something hard-sided, and throw a really good padlock on it. Not something like this. Get something like, like a multi-lock or an alloy or something like that.
Or just don't put expensive stuff in your luggage when you check it.
Sure, but I mean, at some point, someone's going to want to look in there, right?
Right.
But if you put a good lock on it, and it's a case that can't be bypassed in any way like that, so then it'll function. That lock will function also as a seal.
Right.
So the only way someone's going to get in there is if they destroy the container, which you'll be able to see, or they destroy the lock, which you'll be able to see.
I've never thought of it as a seal before, but that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because part of the battle is knowing you've been breached.
Well, that's it, right? So if you have an understanding that you just got your suitcase back, it's intact, like a Pelican box or something like a Nanook or something like that. Nanook makes really good hard-side cases. And you throw it like a good padlock on it, like a good alloy. Nobody's picking that. Nobody's bypassing it. The only way it's coming off is being cut off.
Cutting it off, right.
And the only way someone's getting into that case is actually damaging it.
Right.
So if it comes back to you intact, all your stuff's good.
Right.
So there's that other way of doing it. And that all comes down to kind of your threshold for risk.
Right.
And how much are you willing to kind of invest, But when I was at customs, like we'd have hunters come up from the U.S. and they'd have like rifle setups, for hunting, and they're
Right.
worth tens of thousands of dollars, and then they throw like a $5 lock on it, and I'm just
Right.
I'm like the keychain on that identifies your black case against everybody else's black case is probably worth more than the lock you've put on there.
Right, right.
So how much are you willing to spend to invest in the protection of your assets?
Well, that's the other thing too, I suppose, is if you have a case that looks the same,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I picked up the wrong case, it's like if it's trivial to take the lock off, you take the lock off. Right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Versus, oh, well, that's a $100 padlock or $150 padlock. But what are you protecting? You're protecting maybe thousands of dollars worth of gear or camera
Right.
equipment or something like
Yeah.
that, right? So, what's it worth to you? And
So do you lock up all your stuff when you send stuff out? When you travel?
when I travel, so generally I don't travel with checked luggage.
Right.
That's what I prefer. But
That's the avoiding part.
that's the avoiding part.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I'm with you. Yeah.
everything that 99% of the time I don't travel with checked luggage. I like to travel light. The tools I carry are all airline permissible.
Right.
So like the Covert companion. I have some escape gear that I carry and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
eye-opening too. The idea of carrying around stuff.
Yeah.
Just these little tools that you never know, but if you need them, they're absolutely
Yeah,
essential.
I'll carry stuff with me, but it's all allowable on the aircraft because they're not weapons, right? They're
Right,
just
right.
tools, and they're small, and you can keep them in your pocket, and you throw them in the they go through the X-ray just like.
But it's
proper.
not just about the tools, though, right? Like, I mean, you made that look easy. The reality is, to do that, there's a certain amount of skill and understanding of how the lock works.
That's
before
right.
that happens.
That's right. Like when I'm at a trade show or something like that, I'll usually have a little stand there and some lock picks, and there's like it's like a little a mini door or whatever that has locks in it, so people I can do demos, and everybody wants to try. They've never
Right.
tried it before, and I want people to try, but there's
And then fail.
then I can show
Yeah.
them up. Yeah. But the thing is that when you're trying and you're learning, 9 times out of 10 you're going to damage the tools because
Right.
you're going to use the wrong amount of force or too much force, or you're going to turn it. Like this isn't a key; it actually just lifts up and down. It doesn't actually turn. That's why you need the turning tool, because that's what turns
Right.
it. So like, don't trust Hollywood to teach you how to pick locks, right?
What?
Like, it's
What?
just-
What are you saying?
Hollywood's
Everything
always
we do
accurate.
is real. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Didn't you watch Avengers Endgame? That
Talking
happened,
about-
man.
I'm a brilliant scientist. So.
You make a good coffee. I'll give you that. So,
Not bad.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, it's
That'll
fine,
get you.
yeah.
We'll be talking for days.
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
No, that'll keep me awake. See, leadership, yes.
So what? Okay. So what could you share with us about what you did with that lock right there? Like what was the? Because you talked with some of this before. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of
So
fascinating.
the basics of lock picking are that inside a lock, there's kind of. Oh, okay. That's what that sound was.
I see.
I was just like, what just
sorry.
happened? Oh my
You're
God.
not used to all the,
Yeah.
the bells and
those
whistles.
bells, yes.
Yeah.
So, Eric MC, I like that comment. Any lock can be picked. Just rearrange the control crystals on the control panel. Yes. Isolinear chips, that fixes
That's me.
everything. Yeah.
That's me, basically. Unplug things, plug it differently. That's, yeah.
Yes, Wolf, but cannibalism, that's a whole other
Are
topic.
we talking about
yeah.
cannibalism again?
I don't know. He said from cannibalism
We talked
to
about cannibalism.
lockpicking.
Last time we talked,
Yeah.
last time I did a Tech Bandits, we were actually talking about cannibalism.
But that's because you didn't order a pizza beforehand.
No,
right?
I'm not hungry. That's true. I was probably hungry.
I'm
That's where it
safe
came
now,
from.
right?
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
true. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with locks, the simple kind of way that this padlocks like this one. Hold on. So yeah. So you can see
better
kind of the
without the light,
pins
yeah.
in the front. Yeah. But it's called the pin tumbler lock.
Right.
It's basically like a plug. It's got some pins that are spring loaded, 2 pins in each, sometimes more, but generally 2 pins, and they're spring loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the key goes in, depending on how long the pins are, they have to correspond to where the cuts on the
Right.
key are.
So they're just.
So
They're lining up depending on where the key is.
Yeah, so depending on the length, the cuts on the key, those pins will get to a certain height.
Right.
And they will correspond with the second pins, which will all line up in a line.
Allowing it to...
And that will be in line with what's called the shear line, which is kind of the top of the plug. And when you put the torque on it and you turn it, it will allow all that plug to turn over and consequently move the locking mechanism to unlock it.
Right.
Okay, so that's the real bare bones of it, right?
Right.
So what we're doing when we're picking the lock is we're taking a turning tool, a torsion wrench, tension wrench. There's all kinds of different names for it, but basically it goes in and it provides that turning pressure, okay, that tension. While under tension, very light tension, we take the pick of various kinds and we go and we lift those pin stacks one at a time, front to back, back to front, all over the place.
Right.
And we start to line them up like the key would line them up. And eventually, once they're all lined up, because for each one that you move up, that plug is going to set a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more.
You get a little more wiggle room as you go.
Yeah. And then eventually it will just turn once you've lined all those pins up to that shear line.
So how many pins are there in these things?
So these ones are 4, right?
So you got 4 pins that you've got to place.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay.
So every peak on a key is a pin?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Every valley actually. So each kind of flat here is actually where the pin is going to come down and rest.
Oh, okay. All right.
2, 3, 4. Okay.
I see. Okay.
So when you look at a key, that's the flat parts are actually what you're looking at, and that's going to be how far the pin goes down. So once we've pushed those pins up and we have the proper tension, the plug should turn and the lock should open.
So and you're applying tension so that when you do pop it past that shear line, it's going to stick up there. Is that the idea?
Yeah. So the thing about crappy locks is that their tolerances when they're made in a factory are not that great. They're using cheap materials, and the manufacturing process is not really up to par, right?
So make it as cheap as possible.
As cheap as possible with the cheapest materials, and they just need to kind of work, right? Stick a key in, turn it, it should work the way it's intended. But if we actually want to pick a lock, we're relying on those bad tolerances.
Right.
Because that allows us to push one pin stack up and set that pin there to move the plug aside a little bit so that we can then push the next pin up, set it.
And that wouldn't exist, that ability wouldn't exist if the tolerances were better.
Because if the tolerances are perfect, when I push one pin up, I can't push the plug aside because there's no wiggle room.
Right.
That's in a perfect world. And the perfect world comes into play, or closer into play, when you're paying more for a lock.
Right.
So a company like Abloy, or Abloy.
How do you spell that, Abloy?
Abloy.
Okay.
So they're a Finnish company.
Right.
They make really great stuff, right? They're expensive, but you get what you pay for, right?
Right.
So they have incredible tolerances. They have all kinds of countermeasures. Yeah, Asa Abloy, right? Yeah. They're awesome.
Hank knows everything. Yeah.
So they and their higher end products, they have all kinds of like picking countermeasures built in. There's magnets. There's all kinds of stuff, right? There's what's it called? Medico, right? Is another company. Multi-Lock is another company. They have things like pins that come in from various angles.
So you're not able to go down one. You have to go in front of each
you need
one,
specialized tools and training for that.
Right.
Some of them rotate and have like angular cuts on them coming in from the side. So the key, it won't work if you've just picked it. Like,
and there is no way to pick these, or
there are, like, they have. So you can go on YouTube and find like videos of lockpicking competitions around the world, and in like competition settings where guys have specialized tools and they're really good at it, some of them can pick these really high security locks.
Right.
Some
Do they have like? Does that require incredibly specialized tools? Or?
yeah, like
okay.
this isn't.
So it's not like you're like MacGyvering this crap.
No, you're
Right.
not that stuff, right?
Right,
Not
okay.
the high security stuff. So like for instance, do I think the unpickable lock is possible to make? I'm not even going to start on that. I would defer that to Lockpicking Lawyer, who's far more knowledgeable than I am.
Yeah, Wolfpup, do you watch Lockpicking Lawyer at all? We could bring Wolfpup into the chat even, because he's probably on the Discord.
So like,
Every locksmith needs to be opened by it.
yeah. So like, that's the thing. Like, when we locks kind of come into play also from the counter custody side of things, because a lot of those times those are various versions of locks, right? So handcuffs, they're actually locks, right? So they're like who just said that?
About Ank?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whose name I never get right. I just call him Ank. It's
Okay.
easier.
So they're every lock needs to be opened. Yeah. So that's what the difference between a lock and a seal.
And that's the weakness right there.
Yeah. So
Right.
there's always got to be some way, right? Just like all restraints are temporary is a thing that gets
Oh, there you
kind
go. Anquiatus. He has to do this every time.
Oh, okay.
Because I never
Thank
get
you.
it right.
Anquiatus. Okay.
Anquiatus, yeah.
So the idea is that all restraints are temporary, all locks are openable, right?
Right.
Now, to what degree and what kind of specialized tools or time does it take to get through that? So physical security looks at things like deter, delay, defend, and respond, right? So if you see a lock that is crap, that's not really going to deter you, right? But if I come up and I throw on like an Abloy Protect 2 core padlock, with like magical alloy.
And what are you paying for like a lock like that? Like a
Well,
crazy...
I think like they're like $100 or something like that.
Still not that
so
bad.
they're not that bad,
Yeah.
right? But versus the $11 for this, right? You're not going to pick the Abloy. Like I don't know if someone's picked it. I think someone has, like 1 or 2 people in the world, but that's it in like competition like circumstances.
But once they're picked, doesn't that then aren't you done then? Then it's like, oh, now I don't get pick it.
Well, no, not anybody, right? Like it's a challenge. Like these companies offer money to these people. It's like, can you do this?
But
Like,
once you know how to pick a lock, like once someone like publishes the information on how to pick a lock, then aren't you kind of screwed?
I would say no, because the circle of people that could actually pull off picking a very high security lock
Are limited.
are very small.
Right.
And that hold on.
Can't be raked or combed, not master lock approved. Dizzy Sysadmin.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can't rake a ProTech, and you're not gonna comb it. That's for sure. So those are just different like tools and attacks for it.
Raking is what you just did, right?
Well, I just picked that, but
Oh, that's
raking
picking?
would
Oh.
be using a rake pick, which looks like this. So it has that kind of profile.
Ha.
Okay. Whereas just
Would that work on that lock as well?
so it'll work on it. But I was when I picked it, I was using just a short hook.
And picking it means like you're picking each one of the
Each
pins.
pin, yeah.
Right, got it,
And
okay.
when you rake it, it's basically like bringing. It's more of a numbers game.
Right.
So you try and move as many pins up at once
At the same time.
at
okay.
the same time with under tension, and hopefully you can open it, right? So
Wow.
okay, so
That is literally faster than using a key.
yeah, because the key you got to line up and blah blah blah.
Well, I
So
found that with the handcuffs. When we were using the handcuffs the other day.
Yeah.
It was like, honestly, that the keys are so fiddly.
Yeah,
It's just easier to use that little shim. Than,
that's right. So with handcuffs, again, another version of a lock, you can
Jiggle pick.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a jiggle pick.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So with the handcuffs, it's very much the same. You can sit there and fiddle with the key to get it perfectly lined up and turn it, or when we were learning it, you can just totally bypass the locking mechanism, shim it, and pop the handcuff
Right.
off. And that's actually going to work for you far more often and more easily than fiddling with the handcuffs, especially when they're behind your back, right?
Right.
Try and get that key perfectly lined up and get it in there and turn it without bending it or breaking it.
Right. Yeah.
And if you break the key while it's in there, it's not coming off at all because now
Right.
it's just jammed up the mechanism altogether. So, we're looking at things like shims and other
Right.
bypasses, right?
See, what's funny, which would have been useful. Jane has a great story about being at a stag night. No, what are they called? Hen night, I guess.
Stag and doe.
Is that what it is? Stag and
yeah,
doe?
I guess.
In England, they always have weird names for things. Anyways, but so like one of her friends was getting married. They all go out for drinks. They're at this like seedy club, and
Or any other kind in England.
exactly. And her friend goes like, "Oh my God, handcuffs!" And she puts on the handcuffs, and then they're like, "Okay." Near the end of the night, they're like, "Okay, let's take the handcuffs off," and then they discover that no one brought the handcuffs. The handcuffs
keys.
were not brought by no.
Oh.
The handcuffs were just in the sofa.
Oh.
There was no key. There was no key to have. She thought one of her friends had brought them.
So they're just random.
They were
cuffs
just random handcuffs that were
Great.
lying at the back of a. So they had to go wake up a bunch of firefighters at like 3
Of course,
a.m.
firefighters, because
And
they're the
they-
only ones with cutting things
Yeah,
that
but
break
they had
stuff.
to cut them out of these handcuffs.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness!
yeah.
See, what I have a
We could have picked them.
we could have
Yeah.
we absolutely
Or
could have.
shimmed them. I
Yeah,
guess.
shimmed them. I would
Yeah.
have preferred that. A lot easier.
Yeah.
When I do counter custody like seminars and stuff, I have a slide deck, and one of them is it's like, okay, we're gonna cover handcuffs, and it's like a real set of handcuffs, and there's an arrow that says these, and
Right.
the next one is not these, which is fuzzy ones, right?
Right,
Because that's a
right.
whole
Yeah,
different
yeah.
weekend, right?
Yeah, which is funny because I'm not going to ask why, but Jane has some fuzzy handcuffs, and we should have seen Baz's face when she said, "Oh, I've got handcuffs." We're both like, "What?"
What?
But she has the fuzzy ones. They don't work like the ones that we were looking
No,
at.
they don't,
I tried to pick them, and there's no picking them.
because they have like a little lever or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's all like novelty stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah. And talk about clearances. There was like
Yeah,
everything wobbles around like
Yeah. So the ones we were using are actual like real ones, right?
Right.
And
yeah. None of this party stuff. Hey Peyton, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Now we're learning how to get out. Okay, so all right. So the locks, we dealt with the pins. We've dealt with using a little bit of torque on it.
Yeah.
What other stuff you covered a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like for the various entry methods,
We
right?
should say, by the way, sorry, before you, this weekend, is it this weekend?
Yeah, so this coming weekend here in Toronto, November 19th and 20th, I'll be putting on our first post-pandemic covert entry class. So Saturday, Sunday, you can go to TrueNorthTradecraft.ca and you can sign up. There's still some spaces left. And we cover all kinds of stuff like making the physical security assessments of buildings and containers, and getting you familiar with all the various tools to pick, but more importantly to bypass.
Right.
I love the bypasses.
I so
more than
wanted to
picking.
do this, but I was shut down.
Hate when that happens.
Apparently, I've spent my learning money for the year. So yeah.
We get into like what different tools do different things, and how to kind of attack vectors of attack, right? And how to make entries and make those assessments.
Is this something that people do multiple times as well? So they'll come in and get.
They can. The
Yeah.
way I look at it is, you can come and take the course with us the first time, and if you want to do like a refresher after, you can come in and do a refresher for free because you'll have gear.
Oh,
And you'll know
okay.
what you're doing. You can come
Right.
in, and if we have space, I won't charge for the second time and third time.
Really?
You just come in and do a refresher and hang out for the
So
weekend.
Hewlett's here again.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as soon as I'm signed up, I'm never leaving. Got
So
it. Okay.
and it's good to be able to go and do that because you can bring kind of your absolutely. Some locks you can bypass with a magnet. Yeah, especially there are locks that you can bypass with a magnet. Simplex locks, older versions of them, you can actually put a magnet on the side and it opens, like pulls this slide
wow.
thing. You just open it and totally.
Which again is, I guess you get so caught up in the weeds of making your lock, and then you miss something obvious, like something
And that's the thing. Like security researchers generally, like people like Lockpicking lawyer, Bosnian Bill previous to that, who's now
Bosnian Bill.
Yeah, so he was another like old school like lockpicking guy.
Yeah,
locksmith, picked a lot of locks on YouTube. Yeah, they were doing it, and a lot of other people, right, would do this sort of stuff to research security flaws. So they would bring it to the attention of these manufacturers in the hopes that the manufacturer would enact some kind of, fix,
right,
and plug that gap.
Yeah.
Some companies readily say thank you for identifying this, and they go and they make improvements.
Right.
Others are just like, yeah, we're just not going to pay attention to that because we're making money and
So
we
it's
don't
the same
want to
thing for
change
computer penetration. Same thing.
Exactly
You get
the
some
same
companies will go like, "Oh, great, here's $1,000 for giving us."
Yeah, or
Other people
they'll
like,
just.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right. So
Yeah.
this is physical security, right, versus IT security, right? And that's
Well, that's a good point. Hank raises an interesting point. So, do companies sue you? Could you get sued for breaking one of their locks or showing people how to break a lock?
so. Again, not a lawyer, but they're. I don't believe so.
Right.
There's a lot of security researchers that this is what they do, and they make contact with these manufacturers and say, listen, we've discovered a security flaw, and this is it. Okay, IT security breachers get sued a lot. Okay, so from a perspective of people actually performing security testing, that comes down to a whole different thing. Like there needs to be rules set up in advance. What are the parameters of what's going on?
Yeah, because if you
like,
start bashing away at it,
Yeah.
you wreck their system and go, see, look, you could break in.
Yeah,
It's like,
so-
well, that doesn't. Yeah,
So there's a lot of like pre-work that goes
Yeah.
into that, and if they step out of bounds, like obviously they're liable, right?
Yeah. There's a fantastic podcast that I'm always telling people about called Darknet Diaries.
Yeah,
And that, oh man, where it just talks about all this kind of stuff. And,
Yeah.
And how important it is when people do go in for penetration testing that they get given the parameters of what they're allowed to and not allowed to.
yeah, and that's a hugely important thing, that there's a lot of pre-work set up.
You found
that's
the
right.
chat now, haven't you? Now you're doomed.
Yeah.
Now you're like sucked into the chat.
Now I'm sucked into the chat.
Yeah,
Yes, and that's why.
yeah.
So like red teams, pen testers, all that sort of stuff. If you step out of bounds or you do something that you weren't sanctioned to do,
Then you get sued.
The liability is on you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when I teach this stuff, we have rules. So you don't pick a lock that you don't own.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not like, well, I know Dave, so I went and I picked his front door lock just
Right.
because, for shits and giggles,
Right.
right?
'Cause I forgot to let him in.
Yeah. So that I don't own that lock. I don't have the ability or the right to give permission for that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so this extends to other things. You may so let's say you're a renter, right? And there's like a common area of a building or something like that, right? You don't own that,
Right.
right? You have access to it. You've been granted access, but you don't own it.
Right. Right.
So you can't give someone permission to pick that lock
right.
because you don't own
Not the
it.
permission in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But so I actually have to have permission from the owner or
Right.
a proxy of the owner, but ultimately the owner has to give permission for me to attempt that, right?
Right.
Because picking, like any other mechanical interface, can cause damage.
Right.
Even though it's not intended to cause damage, it can
I
ultimately
know the number
cause
of times you had to pull my shim out of your
Yeah.
handcuffs the other day.
So
I was like,
because if you do it wrong,
Yeah.
right, especially when you're learning, that happens a
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
right? So that's why I don't advocate people trying that stuff by themselves at home
Yeah.
when they don't have the means of someone that can get them out,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why when we run classes, it's a safe environment. We have instructors that have tools that are able to get you out pronto if needed, right?
Right.
But
Well, that's the other thing is like just because you've learned how to pick handcuffs, don't go home by yourself. Handcuff yourself to something. And
yeah, because
Yeah.
what happens if you can't get out? What happens
if there's an emergency?
If there's an
or-
emergency,
yeah,
what happens
yeah.
if you drop the key? What happens if you get a leg cramp or have a heart attack or
When
whatever?
Your son starts kicking you because
That's
you can't get back at it.
That's right. Or your
Yeah.
dog pees on you while you're on
Oh,
the floor.
God, yeah. Or just
All of
chews
these
your
things.
face.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you don't want to do any of this stuff, especially restraint stuff, where you're not in a position to get out or have someone that's you know
Right.
taking care of you.
Yeah.
So that's why we provide a safe environment for training. But the second rule that we have for lockpicking is, so the first one was don't pick a lock that you do not own or have
Right.
permission from the owner.
Right.
And second, don't pick a lock that you rely on.
Huh.
So if you rely on your front door, which
Oh,
most
yeah.
people do, don't go be like, oh yeah, I just learned this and now I'm gonna go try this.
Which I did.
And
by the way.
and then
I literally did that.
and suddenly
Yeah.
the pick breaks off inside or something
Yeah.
breaks inside the lock and now you can't get in.
Well, that's why you have children. You go, Baz, what did you do?
Yeah, oh
And
my
that's-
God,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these are, so that's why I have a box of locks of various kinds. When I've been involved in home renovations and stuff like that, and we change the locks out of a house, all those old locks just go into a bucket.
So you can play with
And
it.
so I can play with them. I don't have the
Nice.
key for them.
Yeah.
And I don't want the key.
Weirdly, I keep locks as well.
Yeah, and
But just because I thought at some point they'll be of some use to me.
and maybe they will
They will.
soon.
Now they
yeah.
will. There
So
you
just
go.
throw them
Yeah.
all in a bucket. It's cheaper than going to Home Depot and buying brand new
Yeah,
locks
yeah,
to practice
yeah.
with. So you just use junk locks,
Right.
so to speak, and that's what I practice with.
Right.
But don't pick locks that you rely on,
Right.
because there is a possibility that you will damage or break that lock.
Right.
So so that's those two rules, right? And of course, keep within the legal confines of your jurisdiction. But those two rules should keep you kind of in line for everything,
Right, okay.
Right? And once someone comes in, we do a class, and you learn the basics. You get a strong grip of the fundamentals, and that allows you to start building your skill upon. So just like our counter custody stuff, the basics are important to have a solid grounding in them, because I can't make you an expert in a weekend,
Right.
but I can give you the skills to become an expert over time.
Yeah.
And that foundation, and the foundation's really important, because if you don't
Just
know
the
what
mindset
you're doing,
stuff.
the
I find as well
mindset's
is a
huge.
Big part of it.
For the personal protection stuff, mindset is probably the most important thing, because after that mindset, if being aware of your surroundings becomes paramount, right? So understanding that you have to protect yourself and that you have to be responsible for your own safety, where does that come from? Well, you got to start somewhere, and you have to know what those threats to your safety are, and awareness is key for that.
You have a great story that you told about the guy walking down the street with the cell phone. He's got his face in the cell phone. He's flicking around.
Oh, the guy who stole it from him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there was a guy walking down. I was at a light, and there's a guy kind of walking away from me, and he's on his phone, totally focused on his phone. And some other guy kind of jogged up beside him, came right kind of on his back quarter, looked over his shoulder, and plucked the phone out of his hand and ran off. And the guy who had the phone originally is like, "What just happened?"
Right.
And he's like, "Hey, stop!"
But
the guy's like
gone.
100 meters away,
With an
sprinting away,
unlocked,
with his
with
unlocked
unfettered
phone.
access.
Yeah, totally gone.
Like,
And
how do you pick up an iPhone lock? We'll wait for some idiot to be distracted.
And I'm sitting in my car, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about this. It sucks for this guy. And he starts like kind of like whatever jogging after it. The guy who stole the phone is like blocks and blocks
He's
away
already
by
sold
now.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, sucks to be him, right? But it comes down to awareness.
That's classic. I mean, that's such a classic move, because like I do that to my kid when my kid's on the phone.
Yeah.
If it's unlocked, I can pull it and text his friend and insult him or something.
Yeah,
But I mean, like,
exactly.
But the idea of bypassing the security by just having
take
you
it.
unlock it for them.
Just take it, and further to that, how often do you see, especially like here, right? I mean, I was coming over today, and it's all slushy and everything outside. How often is you're sitting at make a turn, and someone's on the phone and steps out in front of you?
God.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's because their awareness has been taken away from what's going on around them to search for threats and hazards, and instead they're looking at their phone.
There's an assumption of safety Because people will stop if they see me stepping on the road. It's
but what about the guy driving, looking at his phone?
Oh, God, there you go.
You know, it's a great combination.
Phone versus phone.
Phone versus phone.
Yeah.
And you get creamed by a car or a truck or a bus or a streetcar. And so awareness is really key. If you don't see a threat coming your way, you can't take steps to protect yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, awareness is really key. After that, having the somewhat of a level of skill set to bring violence to an encounter, right? So
what's that great quote? When there's no other way but through, you have to go. Was it something about when the only way out is through?
you keep going.
You got to go like straight through someone as opposed to actually.
Was that Churchill?
Was that? I don't know. I can't.
Oh, no, that's if
I
you're
thought it
going
was in
through
your
hell,
book.
keep going.
Was it not in your book? He's got books, by the way.
Yeah, speaking of
Yeah,
books,
literally wrote the books on personal security and stuff. Yeah.
So, hold on.
Oh, we have samples.
We have samples. Hold on.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, look, I you know what I'm like in general about these things. I don't get paid to support them. I'm supporting them because I just think they're fantastic, and I think what Boris and Ace are doing are Ace.
Yeah, from
weird
Delta
name
to
for-
Alpha Design.
Yeah, Alpha Design. Yeah, that's another. Look at Alpha Design stuff.
Delta to Alpha.
Delta to
Yeah.
Alpha. That's it. Yeah. What we left it upstairs or something?
Did we?
I don't know. Was there? Or did you not bring them?
I thought I brought.
I
them.
swear to God, he
Oh my
really does
God.
have books.
Oh my
he
God,
does.
I had books.
I'll show you. Wait, we could send links and all that kind of stuff.
So okay. Anyways, yes. So we have a book on disaster preparedness,
Right.
In urban environments,
Yeah.
and that's also, it's a principles based approach, right? For years, I did a lot of wilderness survival stuff,
Right.
and then people started asking me about preparedness and well, there's a lot of literature out there about, I guess, preppers and all this sort of stuff. And I don't really subscribe to kind of like the extreme side of that. It's more like the everyday person and how they can fare against a power outage or reasonable, conditions being changed. So
I'm going to throw some links in the chat.
Oh,
while you're
sure.
talking. No, go ahead. You go ahead. Go.
So basically, we looked at what can I do to help people in, let's say you live in a condo. Well, you don't have this big homestead and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So how can you prepare for a power outage for a few days in a winter storm, right? And that's what we started kind of working with, and I took a real principles-based approach because I needed a solution that can be tailored to people rather than a tailored solution that people have to adjust to.
Right.
And there's a fair amount of prescriptiveness. It's like you need this backpack, or you need this multi-tool, or
Right.
you need this water filter, right? And it doesn't necessarily help, because if you say, number 2.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
That was it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is he only on Instagram, or has he got a
He's-
national?
no,
He's got a. Oh, I've never been to his website.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, sweet.
They have a Black November sale too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So having
this is Ace's channel.
that's
what it
Ace's
is.
thing. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
A couple of those. There you go. All right.
So with that, it really hinders people from being able to achieve a level of self-reliance
Okay.
and preparedness when they have things like space constraints, budgetary constraints. That maybe their environment is different, so like they live in a different climate, right?
Right,
And that
right.
sort of thing. So if you tell them, well, you have to have this, and they don't because of one of many reasons, now they feel discouraged, or they feel that they are not able to achieve
Right,
that.
right.
And that shouldn't be the case.
You
So
prefer the more MacGyver approach. of
I
what do you
yes,
got? How do you use
absolutely
it?
the MacGyver approach.
Yeah.
And with that, I took a principles-based approach, and I looked at what do people actually have to achieve to be more self-reliant in that context. So instead of saying, well, you need to have this backpack, right?
Right.
Well, what do you actually need to carry if you need to carry something, and what will do for that thing, right? So like, what are you actually trying to achieve? Can you achieve that in a different way?
Right.
As long as you can check that off and that meets your needs.
Which is the most likely thing you're going to encounter anyways, is a situation where you don't have what you need.
Exactly.
How do you learn how to
So,
adjust for that?
so for instance, it's like the condo situation keeps coming up, right? I had a lot of people asking, well, I live in an apartment or I live in a condo. How can I set up preparedness? Because I don't have like, acres to grow a garden and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but there's ways around that. Do you have a balcony? And that tended to work for a lot of things. You can. Some of the challenges of being in a condo or an apartment is that when the power goes out, generally you won't have electricity, but you won't have heating. You won't have the ability to cook. A lot of the newer condos have electric plumbing things, so you might not have water coming through. Your toilet won't work.
Oh, right, because they need water pumps to get the water
That's
up.
right.
Oh, interesting.
So some apartments might have a generator, but that only may last for 6 hours or something like that. So how are you going to deal with it after? So it's like, okay, do you fill up your bathtub and now you have gray water and now you can use that to flush your toilet, right?
Right.
Maybe you use your balcony to set up like a rain barrel, right? So you can fill that with water during the normal times when you have it, to grow your little garden that's on your balcony, right?
Do you do all this? Do you have? You have like some garden
I've
stuff.
got I've got a little stuff. I mean, I live downtown, so space is at a premium, right?
And there's 2 feet of snow outside.
And there's 2 feet of snow outside, but there's like I have things in place, right? But I have backup power and whatever, right? And it doesn't. Yeah, I got a little bit of it. Like it doesn't
like
have
a
to
little
be
generator of some sort, or a battery thing. Or?
Yeah. So I have a Goal Zero setup. Goal Zero is a company that makes like battery packs and stuff like that. Yeah, and they a little solar panel and stuff like that. And
and that'll run just your essentials, and
I can charge my phone. I've got it does light, it does phone, and I can run a coffee machine, because we know that if I don't have a coffee machine, everybody's gonna die.
We wouldn't be talking right now.
That's
if it
right.
wasn't for coffee. Yeah,
be done.
That's it.
So, like, you can run the essentials off of it, right? You can get like inverter generators and like natural gas backup generators for your house. Like there's a ton of different
When we lived in
options.
Point Roberts, we had a liquid propane one.
Yeah.
So you could we would run the kitchen off it, and also you'd have this generator. It was so much fun.
That's right. Like there's options out there, but you have to pick the best option for your situation, right?
Right.
Like you don't want to do overkill, but at the same time you want to.
Don't you?
I
think the truth is that both of us would happily do overkill.
I'd have a small nuclear reactor in the backyard, and we're good.
Well, they're talking about those now. They're talking about those little, not personal
like an
ones,
arc reactor, so I can have an Iron Man suit.
Well, that I dream of that. But no, but they're seriously talking about having like little, almost personal nuclear. They use a salt to cool it instead of a liquid salt. It's very cool. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's getting a bit hot.
There you go.
Yeah. This is why we don't have them.
Yeah. It's safer that way.
Yeah.
But so we try and look at what would be lost in that situation.
Right. And what are you thinking? You're thinking like in the case of war, or in the case of a.
The good thing about how I'll plug myself for it, but the approach that I took was that it's scalable, right? Mm-hmm. So for an average person living in a condo, needing to make it through an afternoon of no power,
right?
You can scale it down to just these bare essentials, right? But I framed the whole book and the whole program to have self-sufficiency for a week.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what happens if I turn off the power for a week? What do you lose?
My kid.
See ya.
Yeah. I'm going to my friend's house. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
And then what do you actually need to replace those things that you lost, right? So have you lost the ability to, have you lost water coming to your house? Okay,
right.
If you have, then what do we need to do to back up for a week worth of water use, right? Cooking, heating, because the winter, snow falls, it gets cold in your house.
Pretty
right?
damn quick, too, if you
so
don't have the heating.
How are you going to deal with that? So if you have a like a wood stove or a fireplace, you can augment that with a couple of, you know,
Well, and even things like pipes freezing and stuff like that.
All-
I mean, like
all
if
of
you
that.
if you go, okay, if I lose power and I've got enough power to light a light, big deal. If all my pipes are just frozen.
Exactly. So like you got to look at what are the hazards that come from that, and then what you need to put in place to mitigate those things. So it can be fairly involved, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be so prescriptive. It's just like, okay, can we deal with like the toilet situation, right? Okay, do we have a bucket with garbage bags and we can take that outside type thing, right?
Right.
And deal with it, even if you don't have running water in the house. So these are like
So you're not
other
going
ways.
like you're not full prepper. Like you're not like
No,
you're not
no,
one
no,
of these
no,
like
no,
crazy
no.
bunker guys.
No,
Although I would love a bunker.
I'd love a nuclear silo, you know,
Yeah, wouldn't it be
totally retrofitted,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah, have you seen them there for sale?
Yeah.
One of the guys, I don't even know if they're here today or not, but one of them, their friend bought one, and was renovating it, and is now selling it.
There's even a couple like in northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, but
I would do that in a second.
like if I had the
that or an
money,
old church, I would do that in a second.
yeah, you do like if you have the money for it, I'd do it absolutely. It's you know it'd be fun.
I do it. My wife. There's no way Jane's not living in a bunker. I don't think.
That's okay. She can come and visit, or you can
That's
just
right.
go for the weekend.
Yeah,
You're good.
when
Yeah.
the apocalypse
Yeah.
happens, who's going to come knocking?
That's
gonna be
right. Yeah,
Jane.
exactly. You'll have
for
pizza,
sure.
and that'll be
exactly.
that. Yeah. But that's kind of the approach I take. Kind of more mainstream, reasonable stuff.
Right.
Like, you know, zombie apocalypse. You can scale up.
Yeah.
Which is why we teach other stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
So in a
Yeah.
zombie,
Well, Delta to Alpha has a whole bunch of stuff, including like little knife things. He's
yeah,
throwing
he
and all
teaches
sorts of-
like one of his specialties is like throwing weapons, right?
Yeah.
So knives and various shuriken and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and he's really good at it, and it's fantastic the stuff that he does, and he does some really fantastic combative stuff, right?
Oh god, his stuff is amazing. He was doing a lot of the combative stuff on the weekend, and it's just it was just eye opening.
And that's just like that weekend we were just focusing on a very very small wedge,
Yeah.
for that particular weekend, but
even that, I just gave me a sense of confidence. Like if I got it, if I found myself in close quarters in an issue, you know, I feel like it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be pretty, but there's a good chance I'll do a hell of a lot more than I would before that.
And the goal for that, like we laid out, it's not to get into a fight. It's to cause kind of skeletal structural damage to a person, so that we can open that window to
So
escape.
they cannot chase you.
Yeah. We're
I
not
also
getting into
love.
a
There's
fight.
another one that I loved was like instead of when someone comes at you, the fists going with the hands, so that when they see the CCTV footage, you don't get sued for assault or something.
Because we're not there to actually.
Not that we're lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not there to engage someone in a fight, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to keep ourselves safe. So keeping your hands up, you're not aggressing them, right? You're like, hey man, stay back, and
Even though you're deadlier with the hands like that.
and you actually are,
feel
because
like
you
it's
won't
kinda-
hurt yourself as much if you punch somebody with
Yeah.
a closed hand as an open hand. But it also allows you to cover more territory, to block things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of benefits to it. But yeah, running away is good. Yeah, I if I don't have to get into a fight,
My
I
problem is
prefer
I
not
don't
to.
run as fast as I used to. Like I was But also just I think it's a fun way that they all tie together. Like that there's like, first off, we're becoming less and less aware of our surroundings.
Yeah.
Like especially when you're in the
Absolutely.
city, you just take for granted that you're safe. That you take for granted that you're
Yep.
And it's not what I loved about it is that the weekend didn't make me paranoid. It just made me aware.
And that's the goal, right? I don't want people leaving at the end of the weekend kind of jumping at every every little.
Well, I had a lot of coffee. That was probably
that's a
bad.
different
So
story.
was that
right?
next door had that coffee place?
Oh,
Did you go to that place?
I didn't actually. I was,
Holy cow, that
but-
sucker! Me and Eric had a coffee from the
Yeah.
place next door where they were doing this, and whew, I was ready. I was jumping at everything. Yeah.
Atlantic Avenue Athletic Club was our
Oh,
hosts there.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt from Atlantic Avenue Athletic Club.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They host us there for those weekends, and it's fantastic.
It was amazing.
But like we. It's
Is that where you're doing this? The lockpicking?
No,
thing?
this one's going to be in another location.
Okay.
But
a secret location that you have to unlock the
that's-
door to get into.
That's right, and only for people who've signed up.
Yeah.
So, but
And people can sign up on your website, right?
yes,
That's
yes.
like-
So you can go
yeah.
to the store on the site, and you can just go to workshops, and there's a link there, and you can sign up.
Next time.
Next time we'll keep a spot for you.
I blame Jane.
Not saying anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like that's having that confidence built through training and through that experience builds that confidence rather than paranoia. Because if you're paranoid all the time, if you're scared of things all the time, the fear is actually going to take over your thoughts and your efforts versus the awareness where you can scan over things and be like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. I've analyzed it. I don't think it requires any more attention, so I can now discard it. I can move on to the next thing.
Right.
Until you find something that actually warrants that attention and heightens that attention and now gives you focus to start to prepare for an issue, right? And that's going to be either moving yourself out of that situation or taking steps to meet it, right? Rather than just being like, oh my God, that person walked near me. What am I going to do, right?
Yeah, it's like the number of times I've found myself before this course, like sitting down in the subway and then going like, oh my God, who am I sitting next to? Like, this person is freaking nuts or whatever.
And how did that happen without me noticing
because
it?
my head's in my phone or whatever. So yeah,
like
or they're probably more likely looking at me going like, oh God, what have I done? Why is he sitting beside me? But yeah.
Funny you mentioned I was on the subway yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't often take the subway, but it's just a terrible driving day yesterday. So hopped on the
we
subway.
got like we had decided to have all of our winter in like today and tomorrow. Yesterday here.
So I was just like, I'm getting on the subway, but hop on, and as a general rule on public transit, I'm not on my phone. I'm like paying attention to what's going on for the ride. Yeah, because there's a constant flow of people, right? And I don't know what's going on.
It's so sad we have to be like that.
I don't like. I mean, it all depends on what the feeling is. Like, if everybody seems pretty benign and stuff like that, I'm more confident in being able to, I'll check a message or whatever.
I get crappy reception.
That too, right? So there's no point. Bring a book.
People do that. I feel like some people seem to get fine reception in the subway.
Yeah, and then you're like, will not load. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually prefer a book. Because
well, my book's on my iPhone. I just use Kindle on
that's
the
right.
iPhone.
Yeah, so you can still read, right?
Yeah, as long as you've already opened it.
And it's more about like when people wear headphones, right? Or earbuds.
Oh, yeah.
And they can't hear anything.
I do one earbud.
So that's a good practice, right? So you can hear stuff. So when I jog, when it's not crappy like this outside, I go for a run and I wear small headphones that fit on top of my ears, right? I don't like earbuds. They never.
I don't love them because I've got tiny little pixie ears, and
like mine they sit on top of my ear. They clip around. I like it that they sit on top. They don't go in my ears.
Oh, you got those? Oh yeah, my sister was showing them off yesterday.
So they clip around your ear type thing, and then they fold on like that.
Yeah,
but they're only the size of a toonie, right? So I put
for
those.
You Americans, that's a $2.
Yes,
that's $2 Canadian.
They do have a $2 coin in America now.
Do they?
Do they? I think so.
What do they call it?
Oh,
not a toonie.
No. Is that no? They have a $1 coin.
They've had
they had $1 coin.
They had the silver dollars for a while, and they were there. Yeah.
So
who uses money anymore? It's all
exactly. So I have those, but I turn the volume down so that I can. Oh, $1 coin, $2 bill. Yeah,
right.
Thank you for that. Okay, I knew there was something $2 American.
I should know this. I'm American, but yeah.
So I turn the volume down so I can hear my own breath and I can hear my own footfalls when I'm jogging.
So then you've got enough situational awareness.
That's right.
Yep.
So if I can hear birds chirping and vehicles driving up on the road while I'm on the sidewalk, I can hear what's going on around me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I can still hear the music, right? But it's low enough that I can hear the rest of the world around me.
Yeah, I get nervous if I can't hear it. I have the pros, and so you could do noise cancellation. Only ever use it at home.
Yeah, and even then, I don't like using headphones or whatever if I'm alone at home because I want to hear. Like then I'll just turn on the volume, right? But I want some awareness of what's going on around me, right? If for no other reason that I can hear the microwave or oven, beep off that my lasagna's done or whatever, right? So you just want to make sure that you have some level of awareness, and it's not just for dealing with possible violence. It's just in general, right? Like
We are so tuned out now because
Yeah.
because of our technology, I think. Yeah.
Like if what if some car is losing control as it's coming up behind you, and you don't hear the squealing of tires, or people running out of the way and stuff like that. And
That's
you're
a
just
motorcycle
like,
thing. I remember on the motorcycle, when I took my motorcycle safety course, and I took a couple of them because I was just thought, hone the skills. And one of the big things was just like always assume the worst.
Yeah.
So when you pull up to stop, don't take the bike out of gear, because you don't know if the guy behind you is going to stop or not.
Yeah.
If they don't stop, and you want to get out of the way, or so yeah.
And it's different on a bike because you don't have that kind of steel cage around you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and that's what that mindset, that kind of MacGyver mindset, having awareness and being resilient comes from that flexibility of being able to deal with situations as they come in. But the only way is that you're going to be able to be adaptable and flexible is to be aware of those changing circumstances. If you're not gonna know, and you're not gonna be able to orientate yourself accordingly.
Then you're surprised all the time.
And then you're surprised all the time, and oh my God, buddy stole my phone on the bridge in Liberty Village, right? So
Right.
and then you're just a loser, right? Like really,
But you got a great story.
he had a great story.
Yeah.
I had a laugh.
Not that you
because-
could tell anyone because the guy's stolen all his
that's
friends on
exactly
Facebook.
it. He couldn't post about it. So I just find that that's a really key thing. There's a lot of places that you can learn about this stuff. I'm not the only one, but if you're in the States, there's some really great trainers out there that will teach all these skills. But depending on who it is, they may not teach all of it. And I've just found that I've been kind of fortunate to meet in different circles that have all kind of converged, and I bring these skill sets to Canada because I guess I was the Canuck that was doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, someone had to start the maple syrup mafia.
that's right. And,
But it is one of the fun things I love about that's one of the reasons why I love this Tech Bandit stuff is you get this little community of people who are just interested in the same stuff as you. And in my case, it's random, but it's and actually one of our great brains is actually James R. Gurney, Dr. Professor Perfect. And James is asking, is never go to a second location still a thing?
yes, it is still a thing.
Yeah.
So we did cover
brought it
that
up
on the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So second location is a bad thing. So
And for those of you who don't know, second location, basically if you're grabbed, they're gonna try to take you somewhere else. The question is, when do you fight and how do you fight? And
yeah,
the
so
key is
so
don't
we
go to the second.
yeah, so when we were talking about kind of counter custody stuff and restraint escape, part of that is like kidnapping awareness, right? And there's some general guidelines, have an immediate reaction, right? 100% fight, fight with everything you got. Avoid that second location and never give up. Right. So those are what they call strong rules. So Sanford Strong was a San Diego police officer who came up with those kind of general guidelines. Right. Now they had been in different forms for a long time, but the second location, right, is generally going to be a place that has been prepared to hold you and to keep the control on the person that's holding you, so that they have complete control over your environment. Generally going to be isolated. Nobody's going to know you're there.
Right.
Nobody's coming to rescue you. Right. So
your most public place is probably where you're going to get taken in the first place.
Pretty much, right? So, if you're being carjacked in the middle of a city, again, you can't speak to extremes, all that sort of stuff, but ask them to marry you. Kidnappers are terrified of commitment.
Ha! Good one. That's a dad joke.
Yeah.
Wolf Pup's got a question here. It said, I've been taught, punch them in the balls and yell loudly.
Okay, so
it's an interesting one because this came up on the weekend.
Yeah, so hitting someone in the balls isn't always going to work. You might be able to cause them pain, but you aren't necessarily going to incapacitate them. So there's a huge difference there. So when we're doing combative stuff, we're trying to cause incapacitation or neutralize that person from being able to continue their attack. And what you're trying to do if you're striking someone in the balls is actually hit the lymph node that's above that area, right? That's in their groin, and it exists for both male and female, both or whomever, right? It's going to be in that area, but it's protected by a lot of tissue. So striking that lymph node is what causes someone, to throw up or whatever, or to feel extreme pain. But you got to get through a lot of padding sometimes. So and that's to cause damage versus causing pain, right? Pain isn't a incapacitating factor, right? You need something that's going to stop their ability to carry on. So at the end of the day, is it an option? Sure. There's that old twist and shout thing, right? Which is probably what you're referring to. If it's there, yeah, maybe give it a strike, right? It doesn't hurt, but I would probably go with something else given the opportunity.
But you were saying like eyes and things, because then eyes, they can't see you to get you.
Yeah, or
knees.
Knees, they can't walk. Yeah. Their ankles, right?
The ankles and knees were really fascinating because the idea being like, and also it doesn't look as vicious on the CCTV.
It doesn't, and also it's not meant to cause kind of like life threatening harm, right? Like we can do things like eyes and throat and whatever, right? Which are
the throat's good because the response is just it stops you.
Well, yeah, like if you can damage someone's throat, it causes them, it's hard to breathe, right? That heightened adrenal response, more oxygen is required. If they can't bring in oxygen, they're going to pass out, right? Or higher chance of that happening. Collarbones, ears can come right off. Eyes.
That is just, that image is so haunting to me.
So
they just peel off, says Ace. I'm like, oh God.
So they can, right? And that'll get their attention. So here's hit the temple. So we're not trying to kill someone necessarily. We're just trying to stop them from continuing their attack on us, to open a window of a second or two so that we can get out of there.
And if you miss, you've just punched their head, which is the hardest part of their anatomy.
Yeah, basically. Which could also break the bones in your hand. So there's all different factors involved, but that's why it's like eyes, because if you poke them in the eyes, like poke them, they can't really see what they're doing, at least for a few seconds, and it's very painful. So opening that opportunity to get out.
Gremlin Chaser's got a good point there. If someone's pain tolerance is high enough, they can ignore the pain, and also if they're wasted out of their head.
That's right. If they're on some drugs and stuff like that, they can be impervious to any kind of pain. But if their knee and ankle are not functioning anymore, it doesn't matter if you don't feel the pain. You're just going to fall over.
It is a mechanical issue.
Causing mechanical failure. So eyes. It doesn't matter if you don't feel the pain of it. If they're not working, you can't see. We're looking at causing mechanical failure or interruption so that we can get away. We're not getting into a fight with them. We're not taking them to the ground and rolling around and trying to choke them out and blah, blah, blah. That's a fight. That's a two-person contest trying to, get dominance in a situation. Combatives is different. You're trying to cause damage to the person to get the hell out.
I was really impressed with it because it wasn't pretty, it wasn't flowery or fancy, or it was just.
It wasn't Hollywood, eh?
No, it was it was desperate, and it was contained. Like it was, it was really smart. I thought it was absolutely fascinating, and also just again. All of a sudden, it changes your perspective on what you're supposed to be doing. You're not having a fight with this person.
No.
You're not going like, F you, I'm taking you down. It's like, you're like, no, I'm taking you down so I can go run away.
That's right.
And that's, to me, is perfect. That's what I wanted.
That's why when you see, you see two drunken guys in a bar parking lot, and one guy's holding the one guy here, the other guy's holding him here, and it's like one guy punches one guy, and the other guy punches him.
Yeah.
Punch, and they're trading punches, drunk out of their minds, standing there. That's a fight. It's stupid. Yeah. Right? It's not doing anything for one or the other. It's just it's a social construct.
They're both walking away changed.
Yeah. But the thing is that getting into a fight with an unknown person, the problem is that A, you don't know if you're going to win, okay? Because there's no guarantees. Second, you don't know what the limit is for that other person.
Yeah.
Are they just trying to kind of smack you to the ground to say, hey, I'm bigger and stronger and look at how awesome I am? Or are they actually crazy?
And they're
And
chopping you
just
up, putting
going
you
to
in bags.
keep going
Yeah.
once you're passed out and cave your skull in.
Yeah.
And you don't know that. And because you don't know that, you're rolling the die hoping that that other person is going to have the same limits that you have. And that's not the case. So
You already know they're not as nice as you because
Yeah.
they just attacked you.
that's right. So you're now rolling the die and basically throwing yourself at the mercy of an unknown variable. So don't do that. Get the hell away.
Yeah.
Don't involve yourself. That's why when Tim
Situational
Larkin
awareness.
says it, right?
Yeah.
He's like, violence is almost never the answer, because it's like his philosophy, and other people like Tony Blauer and Rory Miller, they're all like, stay away, like don't engage. If you don't have to, get the hell away. But if you're going to, if there's no way out, then bring it 110% maximum, and create that window and get the hell out.
Because you've been forced. So the idea being basically you've been forced to the point where where it requires violence, which means you've now got to commit wholly to that violence.
That's it. Because the only way out of it, you've got two options: throw yourself at the mercy of the other person, or
because you're unconscious.
because
or whatever.
there's a high likelihood that the only reason it'll stop is because they decide to stop.
Right.
And when is that? You don't know.
Right.
So either that, or you take the initiative and you use that same tool, violence, to defend yourself, to create an opening, to get yourself away. See, there's your only two options at that point. Because if they punch you and you fall, and knock yourself out, are they going to pick up a brick and drop it on your head?
Right.
Are they going to keep going? Are they going to like stomp your head on a curb? Right? You don't know, because you're going to be unconscious.
Right.
And there's nothing, you have to.
These are not people you generally want to leave your unconscious body with.
Yeah.
Probably.
And also, you don't know like what they're going to do. They could have serious mental health issues. They could be on something, and they're thinking they're fighting a Sasquatch or something, and now that or an alien, and they have to deal with it. Like, you don't know what the circumstances are, and don't be that person that's rolling the die and hoping that the other person is going to take pity on you.
Which is why that situational awareness comes into play all the time. Like it's really changed my opinion, because I feel like, or my approach, because I'm sort of like, okay, I want to be aware of what's going on so that I never have to get into a situation where. There was another great one that you talked about was, I think someone asked you about using cell phones. And you were saying like, well, if I get a notification or I need to use my phone, I will step out of the traffic and put my back against a wall so that I've got a perfect view of what's going on, and then I can use my phone because I'm aware of what's going on, and there's no dodgy people following me. There's no...
when I'm walking down the street or whatever, there's lots of shop doors and stuff like that, or little, parts like ways off the sidewalk, getting out of that flow of pedestrian traffic, right? First off,
maybe not a dark alley, maybe not at that spot. Not the best
that's
suggestion.
right. But you don't want to be that
but
guy.
Again, situational. You look and go,
you assess it, right? But you also don't want to be that guy that stops in the middle of the sidewalk that everybody's like, oh my God, there's a guy stopping, and everyone's avoiding you then. Like, step off to the side, out of that flow of traffic, and deal with what's going on. Make sure you got, some awareness of what's going on around you, and deal with your phone issue, put your phone away, and rejoin that flow of traffic, right?
So you don't really use your phone out in public at all.
I do, but I'm not going to do it in a way, in a situation where I feel that I don't have that wherewithal and that awareness.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, sure, I get texts and calls all the time. I'll be in the grocery store, and a text, grab this and grab that. I'm just not going to stop.
But you have to, because
then you get in trouble.
Down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
but you want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on, and that you're stopping and putting yourself in the best position that you can in those circumstances, right? So, if you need to deal with a call or something like that, and you don't have hands-free in your car, well, if you pull over into a parking spot, take the 10 seconds to deal with it, and then pull back into traffic. It's kind of the pedestrian version
a hell of a lot easier than having to deal with an accident.
That's right.
Yeah. It is amazing, isn't it? You make these silly decisions, snap decisions, and then, of course, thinking you're going to save time.
And then you don't, right?
There was another one that I loved. Tell me if I'm giving too many things away. But you talked about being at a, and I've kept you way longer than I said I was going.
That's
to.
Okay. That's okay.
Was the bank machines?
Yeah.
And I've started doing what you told me, and it's hilarious because the response is either people walk away, or people are just looking really uncomfortable.
Yeah, so we covered that as transition spaces or transitional spaces, right? And one of the things is where that space or that event is your attention is focused elsewhere because of what you're doing. So,
Right.
for instance, you approach a bank machine, you have to focus on it. You put the card in, you're putting in your PIN number, you're dealing with all the various
Right.
options you have, right? And you're waiting for your money or whatever, right?
My son also checks the card thing now. He started doing that.
Oh yeah, because
He goes to
there's
check to make sure
skimmers
that-
and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So I do that too. Also at gas stations, I grab it.
I
and
never
see
even
if
thought
comes
about it, but Baz does it, and taught me how to do it.
because there's skimmers that will, and then if the skimmer happens to be there, usually in the paneling above it, pinhole cameras get installed so that they can see the PIN number, because then they skim the card number and then they get the PIN number.
No.
So
way.
these are
Seriously?
like,
Have you ever found one?
no, I haven't.
Wow.
No, I haven't.
I'd love to find one.
I-
Take it home and analyze it. Yeah.
You pull the whole panel off the ATM
Yeah,
and
yeah,
take
yeah.
it home with you. Nobody will notice.
Yeah.
So
what are you supposed? Well, that's
yeah.
a whole other thing. But
So
so at an ATM, you're going
yeah.
in, you're focusing on the machine.
focusing on the machine, but what's going on behind you?
Well,
right?
you're only there for one reason.
You're only there for
You
one
have
reason,
access
to get
to
money.
your bank account to get money, like literally.
Yeah. So
Untraceable cash.
so somebody looking at you going in, knowing that you're going to be coming out with money, or in a moment you're going to have a handful of
Yeah.
cash, they come in after you, wait for that situation, and deal with you, threaten you in some way, and take your cash, or
Right.
your account is still open there, and they take out more cash.
Right.
Right. So
And you've got the card on you.
Yeah,
So
you've
it's
got
like
it all
you've got
there.
the keys to the kingdom right there.
So if you're not aware of what's going on, and that's why there's little mirrors on the ATM, so you can
Yeah.
see what's going on behind you.
Although they're usually really grimy.
They are, yeah. But if you hear someone coming in, I turn around, I look at them directly, and I start assessing, what's going on. Is it just some guy who's, trying to get, the next person in line because he
Yep.
needs cash and he's doing his own thing and he doesn't put up any red flags to
Yeah.
me? Or is it some sketchy dude that's just come in and now I need to give that guy some attention because I don't feel comfortable with the vibe he's bringing in?
I love this. This is
Yeah.
like my favorite new trick.
And you'll see sometimes that if they're kind of sketchy and you start making eye contact with them and you stop what you're doing and you just give a second to focus on them,
They
if
move
they're-
on.
If they're there for a bad reason,
Yeah.
or we're thinking about it, the second your awareness is now shifted to them, they've lost that element of surprise.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's not worth it because now that person's ready for a fight. It's not worth my
These people
my
aren't
threat.
usually brave.
No,
They're-
they look for easy targets or
Yeah.
soft targets, right? They want you unaware so they can come in, they can ambush you, they
Snatch that money, run
snatch
away.
it away and
Yeah,
run away.
yeah.
But if all of a sudden you've presented yourself as a hard target that you are ready for them to come at you,
And you've looked at them
Yeah,
and gone, I
yeah.
know what you look like now.
yeah, and all of that you're motivated to protect yourself, that changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're like, okay, if I want the 80 or $100 or $200 or whatever, I'm gonna have to fight for it.
Right.
This person looks motivated.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna go the way that I was hoping for.
I'll wait for the little old lady. and
I'll
then
wait
get her
for the
later.
next
Yeah.
person that is
Yeah.
totally oblivious.
Right.
Right. And that's what when I see people walking past me on a sidewalk and their eyes are downcast and they just walk by, I look at everybody as I'm walking on the sidewalk. I'm making eye contact with everybody.
I see. What's funny with me is I actually try not to make eye contact too much if I'm in a rush, because then invariably you end up like seeing someone and then you recognize them.
Oh, hey, flip
yeah,
of the
then you're
bird,
like,
and
I gotta
yeah.
talk to you. Now I gotta yeah.
But
yeah, I guess you could.
for me, if I'm just passing people, and I'm not like staring at them, but I do make eye contact as I pass, and you'll see that people who kind of rub you the wrong way and their behaviors start putting off signals to you. You'll be able to assess that better once you make eye contact with them.
Right.
Because a person who doesn't care for you, like in any way, is walking past, they might look up and they're just like, whatever, right? And they carry on. But somebody else will already be looking at you. And if you catch
Already
them,
assessing.
Yeah, they're looking
yeah.
for that soft target. And
Smile and say hello.
search
Search
yeah,
for-
79, yeah.
Look, new to the party, already making good points.
Yeah. It's actually quite true. If you smile at people, because there's a weird, people don't feel comfortable when they make eye contact with someone and they don't know what to do. It's a kind of awkward thing.
Yeah.
For years, I developed, because I'm generally an introvert, so I had to really work on my
that's my problem. Is I'm
so I smile at most people.
That's I do the same thing.
And if you just smile,
in a
it's
defensive way.
It's very it's a very disarming situation, right?
Yeah.
And you just carry on, and then it's like, okay, you're not threatening anymore, and that's a good thing when I've taught women's groups, because a lot of the feedback is like, well, what do you do to not make women feel uncomfortable when you're walking down the street at night, right?
I've started crossing the road because I was told you're supposed to do that now.
So I walk really fast. I'm a very fast walker, right? So when I'm walking down the sidewalk, I'm flying past people generally, right? So if I find myself walking home at night sometime, I'm coming upon some lady on the same sidewalk as me, and I'm just like, faster footfalls and stuff like that, and it can really freak some people out. So
plus you're staring at them.
Plus I'm staring at them. So yeah, exactly. So I'll to make people not uncomfortable with that, because like I'm 6'3", right? So like I'm a taller person, and I'm like coming at them kind of fast.
Yeah.
So I'll step
that
out.
That would freak me out.
Yeah, exactly. As it's intended to for you, but yeah.
Okay.
And I'll cross the street and carry on the other side of the street, right?
Yeah.
Before I get too close. And I do that because I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, right? But the thing is a lot of times is that what I try and teach in those particular classes is, if you hear someone coming up behind you, turn around.
Yeah,
turn around. Put yourself in a position that you have an escape route, so maybe closer to the street or down a road or something like that, or into a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And make that connection, and make that eye contact and make that assessment.
Yeah.
Right? And if
it makes all the difference, doesn't it? It's that weird thing of just like, it's enough to scare off people who might be thinking like, shit, I got caught.
And even if they're not scared off, if they've committed to attack,
you're aware.
You're aware. You are now in a position where you're not going to be surprised by it. And like the element of surprise is now gone, and you're ready to go. And like I said in our class, it was, if someone's going to make the decision to harm you, you may not be able to stop that from happening, but you can make them pay for it. You can make it the most costly mistake for that person,
and buys you time. The more time it takes them to do whatever they want to do,
the
more likely that someone's going to come along and go, hey,
all those things. And that risk versus reward starts going down. It starts changing that ratio, right? They're thinking you're a soft target. Suddenly you've become a hard target, and they're in a fight rather than an easy pickings.
What you talked about, it forces them into the same situation where you are, where they have to reassess their situation.
Yeah, now they're not necessarily, they've lost the initiative, and they have to now start thinking, well, is it worth it for me to continue this course of action now that the dynamic has changed, and I'm not dealing with an easy go anymore. I just had my eye popped out of its socket, and someone's fed me my ear. So this didn't go quite the way that I
This is not what I planned when I came for your $20.
That's right, So it's a little more costly, right?
Yeah.
And this girl's bouncing my head off the sidewalk. Holy crap, and that's that's kind of the goal, is to make yourself someone who can deal with something like that. And I don't believe in having like safe space signs and stuff like that, like places that are safe spaces, because that puts the onus on other people to behave in a certain way. And for general people that are good natured, they're going to do that anyways, right? They're going to be safe
respectful,
and respectful anyways, right? They don't need a sign for that. But
aren't they? I thought they were just better lit and also cameras.
Well, those are. If a bad person wants to do something, they're going to do it, and in a safe space that's signed for that. That
means a false sense of security.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a sign and a light here. That means nobody's going to hurt me here. That's patently false. the safe space that
It's never even
exists
occurred to me. Yeah.
is the space that you create for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were talking in the class about proxemics, about the concentric rings that you allow people into those spaces,
Right.
you control those, or you should be controlling them.
Right.
You have that responsibility because it's your personal space. And if someone is going to force their way in to that personal space, you have a responsibility to control that access.
Right. I'm only this close because the camera is.
Yeah, exactly. And the microphone too, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So and ultimately, if you're not controlling that access, someone else is going to control it for you.
Don't assume that they're gonna. Why would we assume that they would have the same, even the same spheres?
That's right. And so that's why predatory people like that are going to look at it as, oh, a safe space, perfect. I can just go in and do what I want.
Right. Her
So
defenses are down, and
that's right. So
I do think women should take this course. I'm not to be so like one-sided on it. I think it's absolutely amazing for someone like me. It was absolutely amazing. I wish as a kid I had done this because frankly it would have helped me with the bullying situation.
And me too. Like I was bullied in grade school a lot, and that kind of started me on my martial arts journey.
Right.
But the reason I focus, or we've started, like our class had more than half of the class was women, right?
Yeah.
The reason for that, I find women's self-defense is a real misnomer and a disservice to women in general. Traditionally, women's self-defense classes are shit, right? It's like, come in here, you're going to hit a pad for an hour, and now you can go fight Mike Tyson, and you're empowered, and you can take on the world, which is absolute bullshit.
Right.
What I do is, because it's like so many places have framed it like self-defense, which are male-centric, and then there's women's self-defense, where we're going to bring pink pads out and stuff like that for you to hit. It's crap. Personal protection and self-defense is a human right for everybody. Everybody has the right to defend themselves from harm. And the problem is that so much has been tailored towards men, and there's a lot of gatekeeping to women. Right. So it's like, oh, we don't want, like, if you're not like whatever buff, and if you're not like, this particular mindset or this particular look, then we don't want you. Right. Like, there's a lot of gatekeeping, right? Or we don't think you can do it because, look, you're not as in shape as somebody else. That's crap. You can be effective to cause someone harm, regardless. Like, you asked me, because you had a shoulder injury, right? So you're like, oh, can I do this, right? And I said, well,
I had to get the shoulder injury. Yeah, it's important for me to mention that to people.
Yes,
all the time.
Yeah. But you did great, because
Wolf pup number one.
My thing was, do you have the ability to carry your groceries to the car?
Right.
And
not without complaining.
No, well, that's a different story. But you're able to do that. Can you move your arms around? Can you stretch and stuff like that? Can you have some general, do you have any real physical impediments to doing basic kind of physical movements, right?
Right.
And if you have the strength to, can you smack somebody? If you can, we can teach you stuff that will be effective at causing damage to someone.
Oh my God.
To get away.
And the women, who ranged in size from taller, larger,
taller
to smaller,
to petite,
and shorter, and they were all by day 2 we were all basically teaming up. You had us moving through different. At first it was just the 2 actors together. Yeah. And then we spread out, but it was amazing. Like, the women were absolutely, I would say, maybe even, I would almost have to say certainly better than me at a lot of this stuff. But again, because it's like, okay, so you're shorter, so now you've got a better lower sense of gravity. All of a sudden you can take that big guy out really quickly, because it's not about strength, it's about how you're using, pivoting and
so Ace is big on the footwork, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing a lot of that, and at the end of it, it's about the mindset and knowledge and the ability to bring that to bear. And because of so much gatekeeping, because it's like, well, women's self-defense is kind of a crock most of the time, or traditionally has been, and the martial arts community does a lot of gatekeeping in that way. the opportunities aren't there for women generally, or other groups to come in and learn that stuff, and it's effective. It just not a lot of people are just putting it out there and saying.
And self-defense is self-defense. It's not self-defense. Doesn't need to be tailored specifically for women or anything.
No,
this was the thing I got from the weekend. Was I was like, I just wanted all the women in my life to take it because I thought this is.
Yeah, like a thumb in the eye is a thumb in the eye.
It doesn't matter.
Really,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so hold on. Do I have any recommendations for self-defense programs for females in the States? Yes. What state would help a little bit?
Do you go to the States and do these? Like, would you do it?
I have. Well, I would go to the States and deliver training. Sure.
Like, if enough people signed up, could you go somewhere?
Yeah, if someone was hosting me, yeah, absolutely.
So go to the website, and if you're in,
you're in Virginia, okay. Kelly McCann in Fredericksburg, Combatives, okay, with a K, absolutely.
No pink pads there.
No. Oh, you want to learn real combatives from like a master? There's go check him out.
There you go.
Yeah, go check him out.
Try to look him up. There you go.
So Combatives, and also here, so KEMBAT. Yeah, there we go.
Combatives.
That's it.
Ooh, with that.
Yeah. So.
Is that right? McKentrick.
Hold on. What's he got going on? Oh, okay. So they're changing their website.
Oh, I see. So that's
so go back. Go back one. Oh, it's just a different tab.
Yeah,
so here we're gonna post that in just a second.
Post this.
Yeah. So send that link.
All right.
And then I'm gonna give you another one.
Copy, and I'm pasting this. So this is for folks in Virginia or people who can get there.
And now, if you go back, we're gonna look at TIGA Tactics. TIGA.
TIGA.
TIGA Tactics. Yeah.
Tactics. There you go. Oh man, this is good.
Yeah, there we go.
Customized urban combatives. Oh yeah.
So these guys are awesome as well. Yeah, and you can tell them I sent you.
Please do, in fact.
Yeah. So So for folks in Virginia, if you've got stuff kind of in other places, I can give you some. Maine, Virginia would be the closest, but I know some of these guys travel. So TIGA Tactics, they travel all throughout the U.S. Oh, my name, Boris from True North Tradecraft.
Putting it in.
Yeah.
I'm putting it again. So link's going back in. That's why I keep them open. You see.
Yeah.
See. Otherwise, James R. Gurney beats me to it every time. There you go. So that is, if you want to look up, if you want to talk to Boris, well, not talk to Boris.
Yeah,
but if
you
want
can message me. Give me a follow on. Give me a follow on Instagram, and you can reach out to me on Instagram too, and I'll happily connect you with people throughout the U.S. and Canada if that's your thing. But yeah, it's there's a lot of great places to train depending on where you are. Some of these people travel, and some of you may just have to travel to them, right? But for years, I drove out of Canada and went down to the States because that's where the kind of training was, and it didn't exist up here back then. So there's options for you. There's really good options. Another one is Shivworks. Oh my God! Don't talk to me about Detroit Dust.
Shivworks like that?
I think it should be. Let's see.
Interdisciplinary coursework, defensive.
Yeah. So that's okay. So them.
Copy. Here we go. Isn't it always a David Talkie stream? Yeah, kind of. But you're right. Let's pop into Discord. Just say hi if you don't mind. So this will go in our headphones. This will go in our ear holes.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna let you go very soon. So don't.
Problem.
I just want you to say hi to Vipop.
Picture. All right.
Yeah, there you go. That's how I was pitching us today. By the way. So all right. Let me turn on this. Now, could you hear Vipop? Can I hear Vipop? Can I hear anything? Oh, did I just kill my? I think my headphones died.
Are they plugged in?
Oh, you know what? I may not have changed the sound settings on this part. Here, hang on a second. Here we go.
There you go. The settings.
There's always
It's always the settings.
always something. Input device is the usual. Output device is going to be. Let's
Something
do that.
happened.
Let's try that.
Oh, I hear
How's that?
something. All right.
Oh, I'm so glad you have.
Hello?
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
hello.
Yay! How you doing, Vibe Pup?
Pardon you keep cutting out. I didn't hear what you just said there.
I said hi, Vibe Pup.
Oh, okay.
You sound very far away, but we have all sorts of audio stuff going on right now, so who knows? Can you hear it all?
I can hear. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions or anything, Vibe Pup, before I let poor Boris go? I said, well, like an hour maybe. We're like, what are we at now? Like almost 2, if not 2. 2 hours
I'm
and
pretty-
6 minutes.
Oh my
Holy
God.
crap! You're like basically a Twitch streamer at this
Oh,
point.
oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So I won't talk for long. But any questions, Vibe Pup?
Have you ever gotten into any situation where you have to use the things that you teach?
So you mean like getting out of the restraints and stuff like that?
Mm.
Or
Yeah, like,
or-
have you ever gotten into like a fight or had to get out of restraints type
so
thing?
so not in a live situation where I've been like kidnapped. Thankfully, I would say that having people train you in stuff that maybe they haven't necessarily been shot or stabbed doesn't necessarily exclude them from not knowing what they're doing. But at the same time, no, I haven't been kidnapped and I haven't used the skills in a live setting. And I actually don't know anybody that teaches it for the most part that has that happen. But yeah, I guess that answers the
But
question.
you're teaching military people who could be in a situation.
So yeah, so I've had like people from military and law enforcement in my classes, and
people from Stargate.
and people from Stargate because they don't know when they might be in those situations, so that they're at a higher risk of capture or being put in restraints at some point.
Well, and that's why I thought it was so important for women to take this course too, and maybe kids, is because I was like, I mean, the likelihood that someone is going to, try
Kidnap
to
you for
kidnap
ransom,
me,
thinking
but
that you can get all kinds of like,
you've seen the budgets of Stargate. There's no way. But the idea but women, you could find yourself in a situation where some creepy guy wants
and
to
that's
take you home.
That's it. Like we with the women's classes, the women's only classes that we've had, sometimes.
Oh, so you have done women's only
We've done,
classes.
yeah,
Oh,
and
okay,
for
all right.
Except for the 2 years of the pandemic, for years prior to that, I would run a 1-day seminar for free on International Women's Day, and we would discuss things like lone worker safety. So if you work by yourself in industries, so people like
how do you
real
have
estate
situational awareness
agents.
while you're supposed to be at work doing
So
stuff? Huh.
think of like real estate agents. A lot of women are real estate agents.
Yeah,
They go
oh
and
my
they show
God.
home by themselves
Like to
at
creepy
night.
guys who are like, oh, I'm just getting a divorce.
That's
God.
right. Or they're like, they look at, they browse the pictures of the real estate agents and like, oh, I want to go see a house with this.
God, I didn't even
this
think
person.
of that.
So this happens, and unfortunately, Canada doesn't keep these stats. But if you follow the American stats, there are like significant attacks on real estate agents, and some have been killed. And so lone worker safety, and that includes people like real estate agents, people like in the entertainment industry that work by themselves. So like models or adult entertainers or sex workers and stuff like that, right? They put themselves in vulnerable positions by themselves with a client.
You're gonna start
right?
running a course on OnlyFans.
So,
Yeah.
so we have. So I tend to focus on like women only issues like that. Like you go to a bar, you want to make sure that you have care and control of your drink, that someone else isn't bringing it to you.
Dude, I'm amazed that people are so relaxed about that.
But that's it. Now I have a really great video in one of
I'm
my.
paranoid about it. No one's spiking my drink.
Because it's not alcoholic.
There's that too.
Got to drive after.
Yeah.
But having a lot of that wherewithal, and when you're traveling, your best practices and stuff like that. If you go to visit clients at houses by themselves, like by yourself, there's best practices to put into place, and you want to make sure that you're putting that stuff into place, that you have backups, so you have communications with people, so that if something goes wrong, that you can get yourself out of there.
Right.
So,
And again, just buying yourself the time.
yeah,
Or being aware that something's about to happen, so you can either get out of there or at least be prepared.
that's right. Hold on, Roland HG.
Roland's big on the gun.
Yeah, the gun. Hey, man, we live in Canada. That's not an option, okay?
Yeah. And even then, aren't the stats on the gun stuff like that? Half the time the gun ends up being used on you, or like...
Yeah, like if you're gonna carry, for all my American friends, yeah, you can carry, but you better invest a lot of money in training and actual time and effort into training, because if you're gonna pull a gun, you better be ready, willing, and able to use it. Otherwise, it's going to be snatched away, and yeah, you have to carry because of your job. Yeah, I've been there too. So, like, invest in the training, and if you're not carrying because of your job, then you know, depending on where you live, it might not be an issue.
It is weird, Roland HG. It is so different up here. I mean, I'm not saying we don't have issues with guns. We do, and there's a hell of a lot of guns up here. So I was very surprised to find out. But most of them are, actually, the majority of them I think are hunting and related to that kind of stuff. And the difference is crazy.
Yeah,
like, it's absolutely crazy. There's just the number of issues we have compared to the, you know, a fake border below us is extraordinary to me.
Yeah,
I know.
But you know, up here we tend to focus a lot.
Yeah,
on
6 hours a week, Roland.
Yeah, so that's great. So you're constantly practicing.
Yeah.
So you're in that kind of group of people that have a good working competence.
Rely on the training, not the tool.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The brain is the weapon, right? The mind is the weapon. That's important, because the weapons that you use don't really matter as long as your brain is doing what it's supposed to, right? Anything can then become a weapon, and you're a lot more effective with it at that point. Yeah. So you're in Maine. Yeah, beautiful state. So yeah, I mean, if you're carrying, again, in the U.S. is a different situation than up here in Canada. But if you're carrying, I would just say get as much training in as you can. If you're, just train, right? It's the best thing. Outstanding, man. Outstanding, brother.
My brain is my weapon. Former USAF. There you go.
Yep, it's a tool. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Up here, we got hands, innocuous
snowballs
things.
today. Yeah, good ones too. Good packets.
Chunks of ice. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Although, what's funny is actually a relative was actually assaulted by a guy with a chunk of ice.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a school thing, but yeah, he got mad, hit her with a piece of ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than in
it's a rock, basically.
Yeah, it is. Or icicles, like in Die Hard 2.
Oh yeah. I always thought that was cool.
That was cool.
My friend wrote a horror movie about a snowman that would kill people with icicles, and then they would melt, and they wouldn't know what killed them. It's kind of cool.
We should see that.
Look, I should wrap this up because you've been way too generous with your time. Okay. First off, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Everyone,
thank you for having me on.
Please go check out True North Tradecraft. At the very least, check out the website. Honestly, I cannot recommend the courses enough. I have taken one. I want to take all of them at this point. And they're they're fantastic. And also books. So the books people can get the books from the.
So on the website, if you want it autographed, if you want,
I've got an autographed one already.
You can order it from our website, from TrueNorthTradecraft.ca,
Is it also on Amazon?
I'll sign them. Yes, and they're on Amazon as well. But you won't get it autographed if it comes from Amazon. But
I'm going to go to Amazon.com because everyone seems to be more.
Yeah, you can do either. So
all right.
type my name.
And it's called. I know what you're called.
Yes.
Boris. How do you spell your last name?
Mili.
Mili.
There you go.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at your search engine optimization.
So there we go.
Oh, fantastic. You know what I'm going to do then? I'm just going to do.
Yeah, do that.
This.
Search results.
Copy. Here you go, folks. If you want to get the book, there's a couple of them. Again, highly recommended. Mine is sitting. Boris's latest one is actually sitting on my. It was perfect actually. He came up to help me out on a door issue, locks. And there on my bedside table was his book sitting there,
So check out if you order the book from the website, I'll autograph it for you if you put that in the notes of the order. If you order it from Amazon, that's great. Give us a look and a follow on Instagram.
Yes.
That's my kind of primary social media.
I do links
thing.
for that too from here. Actually, it's not going to work from here. Those
It's okay. It's just at TrueNorthTradecraft.
Right.
And all the rest of us. So Maple Syrup Mafia.
Yeah. Can they buy the merch?
Yeah. So you can go to maplesyrupmafia.ca. So
Because I've got to get. Maple Syrup Mafia. It has its own website.
yes.
Oh my god. Okay.
Maple.
Wait,
I could spell maple syrup.
Oh, hold on. Someone's talking.
I was just trying to ask one last question before you go. How did David escape from the picture that he announced?
Hold on. Go. So how did Dave get out of all that? So we taught him. Hold on. It should be maplesyrupmafia.ca.
Oh, is it okay? Maybe let me try
Yeah.
that.
So David got out of it because during the weekend, we.
Did I spell it wrong?
No, I think you.
Syrup.
Hold on.
Did I spell?
Okay, hold on. Let me answer the question
Yeah,
first,
yeah,
and then I'll get.
Sorry, Wolf. I realize I don't have my headphones aren't working. So you're,
So you go through a process of basically like crawl, walk, run on learning about the various restraints and how they work, along with what their weaknesses are and how we can attack them, how we can exploit those weaknesses and free ourselves from those restraints. So ultimately, we just attack them one at a time, deal with them one at a time, and ultimately you get out of it. And it's just a process. It requires focus and understanding the methods to get out. And you just start working on one restraint at a time. And it's a lot of not panicking. And
I did a little panicking.
Yeah, you started off with some panicking, but eventually you were okay.
There were two things that helped me out. One of them is I'm very sweaty. Actually, a couple of us were like, "Thank God we're sweaty," because it helped us get the duct tape off. And the other thing was that Ace and Boris taught was when you are bound, when they come to tie your hands together, you want to get as much space as you possibly can. Like fake it so that it looks like there was tilting your hand to the side as they go on buys you a little bit of space. And the more space you have to work with, the more you have, again, kind of like the locks, the more loose the things are, the more chances are of slipping something in and doing some damage to it or getting out of it. So that's that. In my situation, those are the two things that helped me out. But also practice. I mean, like we got to practice a bunch of stuff. So what was it?
Go back to Delta to Alpha. Oh, there it is.
You got it.
Delta to Alpha.
He should be up there already.
Yeah. Here, hold on. It was.
Here we go.
Products.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Yeah. So okay.
Got it.
So yeah, it's on.
Oh yeah, and he's got some great Hunter S. Thompson looking stuff too.
So copy. So here's.
Look at that. See, Boris is running this. Now Boris has got it down. He's basically doing that.
Why
I'm trying to talk Boris into doing his own like security podcast, but he doesn't have enough time.
Why does it not? There we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's just a process. It's understanding the ways that these restraints can be attacked and what their weaknesses are and how to exploit them. And you just do so methodically and patiently.
Well, once you get your head around the idea that yes, it looks terrible. You've been duct taped and handcuffed, and like the pictures and the picture in your head is much worse if you look at it all as one piece. You were saying that it's part of it's like going, okay, how do I break it down? But also just when you're like, oh my God, I've been duct taped and they've got tape over my mouth and I'm screwed. It's like, well, that's not going to help you.
It's not a hopeless situation. And when we start you off, right, we put on duct tape and it's like, well, okay, try and get out. And until we show you how that's done, you're going to struggle and it's not going to work. And you're going to be like, it's hopeless. I'm toast, right? But then we show you how to do it. We get you to practice how to do it. We get you successful in doing it. And then we start applying it under pressure. But you know what you're doing. You just did it 5 minutes ago. So now we've just upped the bar of making it more difficult to do.
And who gets a chance to practice this stuff?
Well, it. It's not safe.
I don't want
really
the first time to try to figure out how to get out of this is when, I've been taken hostage by some wraith group.
Well, that's just it, right? So having the knowledge and the capability is something that now you'll know for the rest of your life what those methods are, and you'll understand those principles forever, and you'll have had some practice in it. So you're going to revert under pressure to your lowest level of training.
Right.
And that's going to be something functional for you now.
Sweating, as it turns
Sweating,
out. Sweaty. I revert to sweaty.
Yeah. So
yeah, works every time.
Someone's got a question.
It's a force field. Yes. Yes, I just need my personal force field. Exactly.
Sarah Owen, do you ever consult with authors by chance? Sure.
Ooh,
I mean,
that's a good point.
I'm happy to talk. Reach out to me on Instagram, and
Is someone in the middle of their NAMO?
I'm happy to.
What is it called? It's North American Writers First Novel Month or whatever it is. Everyone's writing,
is it?
frantically writing. Is Sarah frantically trying to get some info on that? Oh my God, best episode ever! Oh, thanks for it, Sertzel. I'm so glad. I thought people would like it. I thought I was not alone in my curiosity and interest in this stuff. So
yeah, National Novel Writing Month. Okay.
Yes, I'm not very good with it.
It's all good. Fear is actually a good thing. Yes, it is. But the problem with fear a lot of times is that it will overcome you, and it will destroy your ability to focus. Yeah. So Tony Blauer of Spear, so you can look him up. Tony Blauer is really about managing fear in violent confrontations. And so Tony Blauer, B-L-A-U, there. Yeah, that so first one. There you go, Blauer Spear System.
Ooh, so, Blauer Spear System.
So he moves around a lot. He's actually Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah,
sweet.
From Montreal, but he's been in the States for a long time. So for other people wanting like combatives training and stuff like that, so he does well. Tim Larkin is another one. So we'll throw up Tim. So Tim Larkin. There you go.
American author.
Yeah, he's an author.
You got to get author. Right? You got to get one of these little.
I think it says that on my LinkedIn.
Oh, does it?
Okay. Yeah, but
he looks. He looks like a self-help guy.
He is a self-help guy. I mean, he teaches people to help themselves by breaking other people that are trying to hurt them. But fantastic guy.
Look at the arms on that guy.
So, yeah,
right. He's like the Rock of personal security.
But yeah, like there's a lot of great trainers out there. Also for situational awareness, I want to throw out two links here. So one is the Diamond Arrow group. Diamond Arrow group. Yep. So it's Kelly from Diamond Arrow Group. She delivers training all over the place for situational awareness. Absolutely wonderful material. She has a book out as well called Sharp Women. So highly recommend it. I was fortunate enough to have her reach out to me, and I helped with some of the edits on it and stuff like that. So
oh really? Oh, cool. Yeah. So you were helping out. There you go.
Yeah, and I'm actually.
Is this the one?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's actually I got a thank you in there
as
well.
Sweet.
So yeah, so it's really great. And then Emergence LLC. So Yusuf Badu from Emergence. So
this one?
No, that's not it. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll
go down.
Any of those?
Here, hold on.
Yeah, this is very good of you because I promised you I'd have you out of here in an hour, and it's been like
there we
go.
Two. Okay, sorry, I got the wrong link. Close enough, but
Emergence Disrupt.
Copy.
Ready?
Paste. So there we go. So Yusuf Badu from Emergence Disrupt. I'm one of the instructors for their situational awareness training. But he puts out really, really fantastic information on situational awareness, and it's fantastic information.
And are these people like you could follow them on?
You can follow all of them on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that.
Instagram.
But yes, I like Instagram the
Mastodon. Best. I'm gonna get Boris into Mastodon. You wait.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry.
But there's so a lot of these links are great. Got Delta to Alpha in there as well, and then yeah, like our store, you know, we have disaster prep stuff.
Yeah.
From a knowledge perspective, so the book, we have Restraint Escape tools, and we have Covert entry tools, right?
Yeah.
So those are 3 areas of specialization for the stuff on our site. Our training, we put them on periodically throughout the year. So we're looking at now when we do this weekend's workshop or this weekend's class on Covert entry, probably we'll be coming back to training in the kind of late winter or whatever, kind of February, March, April type stuff for more workshops. Okay. Nobody really comes out during Christmas and whatever, right? So everybody just wants to stay inside and not freeze their
Although those
asses
skills would be good to keep, dodgy uncles away at the Christmas parties. Actually, God, Christmas parties. What am I saying? It's actually probably is a good time for that stuff.
Well, it is actually. A lot of assaults happen.
Nothing worse than
like
drunks
that.
at a party. That's like the worst.
So I mean, if someone wants to host me for an event, that I'm happy to attend. I have a kind of closed event that I'm doing December 4th, Sunday, whatever that is. So the Missing Link here in Canada, she's running that as a women's group thing, and
should I look them up? Is that
sure? Try the Missing Link.
Missing Link. I feel like that's gonna be so.
Try Kate, Kate. There you go. Yeah.
KD. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, so
on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see.
Yeah, there you go.
So there we go. So you can throw that up there.
They've all got really cool websites.
Yeah, I'll be there on the 4th of December, just doing an event for them for the day.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So things
so
like
they'll
that.
hire you out. You get hired out by other people.
Yeah.
As well, right?
So I come in and we'll do the day seminar about it, right? And I'll cover more kind of soft skills.
Well,
and stuff
we should
like
talk. Maybe there's a way of doing like some kind of like a Tech Bandits weekend or something, and we'll do.
We could
get
I'm
people
happy
to sign
do
up
it.
and come and.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Tie me up and have me get out of it, or I'll tie them up.
I can tie David up and I can just leave.
That's a whole other thing.
You guys can just watch the camera.
Yeah. That's not if I'm aware.
The live feed. Yeah, that's right.
You won't get anywhere near me.
I'll distract you with the dog.
That's it. That's true. With the small
small
rodent-like dog. All right, I'm gonna wrap up because I'm feeling horribly guilty now. Everybody, look, thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for all the follows and the subscriptions. Please go check all this stuff out. I will do little show notes and so people can click all the links till their heart's content. And I will say, be safe, be kind, be brilliant. And until we geek again, cheerio and huzzah! And then I'll actually stop the stream, which is something I forget to do.
Stay crafty, everybody. Thank
you
very much.
Stay crafty. That's how I forgot about that. I'm getting like flashbacks to having my head in a hood.
Trauma.
Yeah,
Beautiful thing.
That's it. All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you much.
Take care.